Oh my gosh, you guys are here so soon. Hello. Hello, hello, welcome. Hello and welcome, everybody. Today we are going to continue building out Recast, and the challenge that we're going to be having is I'm having my house painted. So if you hear things going on in the background, it's because you can probably hear the painters. So I'm gonna play around with my mic settings a little bit and see what I can do to try to minimize outside noise. Feel free to let me know if it's too distracting. I will do what I can. They are currently right outside my office painting the exterior of the house and doing some touching up. So I was debating just not having any sort of stream, but I was like, no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna stream, we're gonna keep building Recast, and we're just going to deal with the noise. So this is life. This is how it happens sometimes. It can't be perfect. So hello, welcome everybody. And thank you for joining. So where we kind of left off is we had been building out a lot of the automation for the content side of Recast, right? The goal is to sell Recast, which is the thing we're building. Someone in the comments mentioned this is a promo, which I thought was pretty funny because the goal is literally to build something and sell it. So I guess, what? Learn coding. Hi, welcome, welcome. And so we did a whole bunch of like automation, RSS, sitemap building last time, and then we set up Zapier, right, with their zaps, and we automated posting to Twitter. And then I got an email saying, hello, we're shutting down our Twitter integration because we don't want to pay Twitter's API fees. So I was like, well, there goes that entire plan. So I don't really know what the backup plan there's going to be. In theory, we should post to a bunch of social networks, and Twitter is just one of them, or X, or whatever people call it these days. So maybe that's not the end of the world. I kind of feel like tech Twitter is a thing though, or at least it was. But maybe we should like just post to Mastodon and be like, screw you, Twitter. This is what you get for disabling your API for everybody and not letting anybody do anything. Who knows? So today, what I kind of have up on the docket is I want to talk a little bit about our converters and how we're doing the conversions in the backend. This is like the bread and butter, right? Where we're converting file formats to different file formats. And I've started thinking about adding in more complicated ones besides images, and immediately ran into a whole bunch of issues with how we kind of had to set up. So I want to talk about that. And then we're going to go and try and build that out a bit so we can have like even more file formats. And then being able to download multiple files, which we'll get to in a second, but that's going to be important. And then we're going to add more converters. So that's kind of what the game plan is today. I'm hoping by the end of the day, end of the session here, is we have our software as a service recast in a pretty good place where we feel like it's mostly feature complete for an MVP. It's not perfect. It's not great. There's a bunch of stuff that I would love to fix. Hello, welcome. And my dog just barked because she thought someone was at the door because I said hello. But that's kind of where we're going to be going. So let's get into coding view. Let me give you a brief tour as to what we were doing with the converters. And feel free to ask questions, whatever you kind of want me to dive into a little bit. And yeah, have fun. And again, if there's too much noise, I apologize. There's only so much I can do. The house needed to be painted. All right. Let's make myself a little circle. Here is localhost. Localhost is broken because I broke the build. This is what happens when you code right before the stream. It's okay. We were adding tests, which is good. It's important. So in Visual Studio Code here, if we kind of go to where I was working in the converter backend, right? So how the conversions work is we have a node process, just plain old Node.js, which checks the database for any conversions that have to happen, and then pulls down the files from S3, runs the conversion, saves the artifact back to S3. And so before, we just kind of had one converter. It was just images. And I've refactored this considerably. And so now, look, I'm not the biggest fan of classes. I think functional programming is the way to go. But I think for what we're doing here, actually having a class that's a converter is going to make more sense because we want to be able to have overrides for different conversions. And you'll see what I get into there as we add more of these, right? So basically, we now have an abstract class converter. And when you create the converter, it says, what kind of node are you going from? What kind of node are you going to? And this is like JPEG to PNG, PDF to whatever, right? And so a converter always takes one thing and outputs another thing. That's what a converter does. And then it has the abstract conversion function here, which subclasses have to implement. And so for our image converter, right, we basically have a mostly generic image magic converter. This uses image magic underneath the hood to do the conversion. And so it has a bunch of template methods. A template method is a method that the main method calls that a subclass can override. So here the conversion actually does the whole conversion, and I made a bunch of hooks for it. So it like has a pre-write hook, a write hook, a post-write hook. This is for writing the inputs. Hear that noise? And then you have a pre-conversion, execute, and post-conversion hook. So you can do something there if you're a subclass. And then a pre-read and a read hook. And I don't have a post-read hook because I felt like once you read the output, you read the output. Although maybe there should be a post-read hook, who knows? And then it returns the actual output buffers here. So this class used to be abstract, but now it's actually just a concrete class. And it allows us to do a conversion of basically all images to all images, right? And so you can see the actual execute method here, which is basically just a log statement saying what we're about to do. And then we exec on the command line, the convert, which basically just passes in all the options. And so what this means is it means that we can have certain subclasses of this when you have to tweak a couple things, but not everything. So here's like a PDF converter, right? And so if you input a PDF, so the from node is a PDF, then you can send it to anything. So you're just passing in the to node from PDF to anything. And we're basically going to change the output. And after doing this a little bit, I actually don't even think this is totally necessary, but I wanted to make sure I could do it. And so now the output is output.like.jpg or whatever, and this kind of all handles that properly. And so we've cleaned up this a lot too. All right. Limdy, are you thinking of starting a Discord or something? Currently following along, would be nice to have somewhere to discuss, talk to others about things we run into. I've gotten that request a couple times. And Discord is something I would like to introduce. The thing I'm slightly cautious about is the amount of time and energy it will take to moderate or keep the entire thing in a nice sort of place. I don't want it to become anything that's like taxing on the energy side of things. So I'm considering my options for basically setting up a Discord so it doesn't take away too much of my time and energy. But I hear you, totally understand. Right now, the best place to drop any of those sorts of comments is just like YouTube comments, and I respond to, so far, every single one. And Raj, hey, welcome. All right, so that kind of gives you where we currently are with our converters. Now, I blew away a bunch of converters, so I don't have all the converters that we used to have, and I broke the build. So let's fix the build, and then let's go back into getting our converters set up. So this is the conversion list item set value selector is no longer right. Conversion list item. So this is one of the row items in our UI. And the set value is going to be the format, which is a meme string. That's okay, but we want the onConvert2, which has a full format object. So this is no longer really a thing. Now we're just kind of passing through just the meme type for everything. So let's see if that fixes the build. So what I'm trying to do as much as possible here is, when you think about a file, right, there's two things that, Colo, hello, hope you're having a great day. Thank you. Yes, so far the day has been going pretty well. Property extension is missing. Okay, file manager 69. So you just got to keep working through this. Here's our manager. And now we update the conversion. We update conversion 2, and the extension is missing. So update conversions. Now we have our entire conversion provider, right? And so this had a format, but we're just going to change this to meme string. So we're just doing meme string. Now the reason we're doing this is because basically in our user interface, we've been bouncing back and forth between like the file meme type and the file extension. And the meme type in theory is more specific. So we can have like the canonical meme type, so image/JPEG, and decide which JPEG we want. That's like the canonical meme type. And that way, if there are multiple file extensions that map to the same meme type, we will always be able to just know what we're referring to. And then when we want to display something, we can simply do meme type to file extension, right? So that's going to be our new thing. So now if there is a conversion.to.meme, then we can do conversion to meme. Otherwise, we'll do convert to, right? So we'll basically always work with a meme type unless we're displaying it to the user. And then a user generally doesn't know what a meme type is. And so we will be conscious of that and use a file extension, which is more common when kind of dealing with like what users are expecting. All right, let's see if that does the trick here. Basically, this is just to help my own sanity, right? We were dealing with like file extensions and meme types, and it was like, okay, what one are we doing here? Which one are we doing over here? Like now we need to convert them from in and out and all that stuff. So we no longer are going to do that. All right. Nodes declared locally, but is not exported. Converter graph. Getting back down to it. Fixing these bugs. Let's see. So now we have graph. So we're no longer importing this from this. So we can now import nodes from the nodes, right? And this exports nodes. Now we have it, so we're gonna rename it as image nodes, which is what we had here. So let's see if that does the trick. Fixing my little bugs. We want to get back to our build being correct, so we can start making sure our user interface isn't totally broken. And then we'll be able to really flex our muscles. So what I've been doing, the reason we did all this work, yes, we're good, friends. Let's go ahead and commit this. Fix bugs in build. Push it. Whoa, full screen. Full screen. Too aggressive. The reason I did all of this, let's close everything, is I was struggling to add more complex converters. And of course, as I refactored everything, I think I figured out the right way to add more complex converters. So don't think I needed to go quite as far as we did. But we're about to embark on our journey of adding lots of converters for lots of different types. And we want to have a really solid foundation so it's easy to add these. Now, the one complicated thing-ish here is before, how I had this set up is we would define the nodes in the graph only. So JPEG, PNG, GIF, high efficiency image format, stuff like that, right? And then we said, okay, all of these nodes, every single one can go to every single other one. Something like that. But that's not the case, right? You can't convert anything to anything. That's ridiculous. A lot of what we're going to do is we're going to have like clusters of nodes in our graphs. Like you convert most image formats to every other image format, but we're only going to have a couple of ways to convert like text to an image. Right? And that's probably going to be, if you chose something like Midjourney, right? Then Midjourney is going to export like PNGs, for example, right? So the only way you could do text to image with Midjourney is doing text to a PNG specifically. And then once you have a PNG, right, you can convert it to anything. So as we add more complex stuff, we need more control over how this is. And so, for example, here, our PDF converter, we're basically saying, don't add this PDF converter to everything. Only say we can convert PDFs to the stuff we already have in our nodes. And that's defined over here, which is the rest of our image types. Well, now that I'm even looking at this, we might need to filter some of these out, but whatever, we'll get there. So let's go ahead and try to get our dev server back. And then we should be able to see how broken our user interface is. Then we can push everything once it's all working. I added, with ChatGPT's help, a very, 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 very bad homepage, but it has text now. So there's that instead of just lorem ipsum. So we're getting there. We are getting there. Let's make the dev tools a little bigger for people as well, in case we really want to go in there. So, and lastly, let's get our converter working again. Hopefully this works. Ooh, no, it broke. Okay, so this is the last thing we need to get working. This is our long-running node process. So the graph 15 from edges cannot read property undefined is broken. So we built it. Let's go to our graph. And this looks like from edges push. So this guy. So let's see. For each converter that we have, for each converter, we're getting nodes converter from. I bet this is the PDF, right? So we're saying the converter goes from a node to a node. So let's just look up what this is. This is just walking you through my debugging process, right? First of all, like, what is the converter? So the converter from, converter to, what is this converter, right? What are we basically looking at? And now when we go ahead and do this again, right, we can see like, okay, there's a converter from JPEG to PNG. And I won't select it, like JPEG to all these types, right? This is perfect. And then we have the one that breaks, image WebP to image JPEG. That's actually not what I expected to see. So we have image WebP for the first time. And then we go ahead and look up in our nodes all of the nodes. So if we go here, how did this get added at all? So we're not adding in our list of nodes image webp, right? So image webp doesn't exist, which is why this broke. But I don't know how that got added to the list of converters if we don't have the node defined. So that's my question, right? So if we look at webp here, it's in our disk converters. This is all old code. rm-rf, we need to clean up our code. So here is our dist folder, which now has, looks like a bunch of old code that wasn't cleaned up from all the refactoring. So that's a very fun way to do some debugging there, where the end result was not what I suspected. I thought, and I think this should still break, because we didn't add the PDF type into our graph of nodes. And so it's going to have a converter from a PDF, but there's no PDF node to reference. That'll be a problem. But that bug was actually different in that I did a bunch of refactoring, and the old code was not cleaned up. So in our package, well, I guess it's not even a package, right? So in this, we're compiling it again, right? And then we go ahead and execute it, but we don't clean up the old code, so the old code was still there. So really we want like, you know, that, and then we want to compile it. And so this way we're always cleaning up the code and now building it and then running it. So it's like a clean method, right? So now here is the bug I expected to find, where the converter is saying application PDF to image JPEG. We can't find the from node. And that is to be expected because this is a bug, where we go ahead and when we define our PDF converter, we're saying from this node, right? And I should probably make this an enum. It's gonna be painful, so painful, because like there's gonna be so many meme types, but I hate just having strings everywhere. I'm gonna mistype them. It's gonna be a huge mess. We're defining the PDF converter and then we're adding it here, but we never add the node itself to the graph of nodes. And so I kind of want to add it, but I don't want to have to go through this entire charade of like adding it and then filtering it. That's why we did this, but now that I'm kind of looking at it, I feel like the ordering here is very important. So we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to continue just to have this here in the list of nodes. So we're going to add in application PDF, right? And it's application PDF again with just typing these things out. And we're going to add it to the list of nodes. So now it's in our graph, right? So we can just reference that as PDF. But then here, obviously, we have a PDF converter. And our PDF converter is going to say, well, for each of the nodes, make a converter from PDF. So this is going to create a PDF to a PDF converter. And this is going to, right, also do a PDF to PDF converter. So what we want here, this is not good. We want to say if from, we'll find out a better way to do this. If from is application PDF, so we're going to skip PDFs here. And does it make sense to do PDF to PDF conversion through ImageMagick? You know what really we want? We want a pass-through converter, don't we? Which just takes the input and exports it, doing no transformations. Instead of actually running the conversion PDF, isn't it? That's probably the better way to do this sort of thing. So we'll just do that as well here. We'll just skip PDF. So this is a bad thing to do because we have specific if statements in our code that we're gonna have to clean up and make more generic. That being said, we want to move on to the next bug. All right, so here's a bunch of output. So here's our graph that we've created now. So we have our converters, PDFs to basically each type, like a PDF to an X icon. God, can you imagine that? But okay. So we are converting like image to JPEG, you know, so like this is something we might want to fix in the future, but for now, sure, it's fine. So now we have our graph, which should have each of our meme types correctly and has edges pointing to various other things. That looks good. And then it exploded. So what do we got here? Prisma, invocation, find many. Database converter does not exist. I think we need to export the new environment variable. We want this one. We renamed it to recast. So export database URL equals this. Try that again. Okay. So now conversion find many, public.conversion does not exist. Perfect. So what does exist is in our schema here. It's the wrong database. In our schema here, let's rename this to recast connect, and let's fix that. This is recast connect. We don't have anything here because we need to push it. npx prisma push. We restarted our database. So now we can just double check with Postico. That's this program. Super useful. I still don't see our schema here. It should have used the right one. Okay, database recast, so that should have worked. Refresh. Now we have our conversion stage tenant user dev. That is, again, Postico. If you're watching and you like it, it does cost money. It's not free. However, if you're doing a lot of stuff with Postgres, I find it very valuable because I prefer greatly having a visual interface into my database. I like using a terminal for a lot of things, but the terminal, you know, display a table, I literally can't read them. I'm like, oh my God, it like wraps around and does a bunch of stuff and it's absolutely crazy. Okay. So I think we still have work to do on the conversion, but now it is correctly looking in the database, searching for conversions and finding none. So let's go and see if we can add some conversions. We can do a hard refresh here in the UI because we restarted our dev server. And we should be able to now, come on, app directory, you're broken. All right, so select a file to convert. This is our test directory, so we just have like a JPEG here, right? So open this, let's see. So now we only have a few here, right? We've cleaned up some, but we do have a PDF. So let's do JPEG to PNG. And I thought I fixed that. JPEG to PNG, and let's see if we can convert this. Okay, so it failed. Invalid type expected string required path to extension. Okay, so this is our validation in Zod. Let's do, yeah, here. So here we have an extension string required. Let's get rid of that. We no longer need the string, we just want the meme, and we'll look up everything server side. So refresh. Select file, what? Convert to PNG. This should be pretty straightforward. Convert. So it uploaded. says it's converting. Let's check our conversion. So it looked in our database, it found one conversion, started the conversion of, this is the conversion ID, downloaded it from S3, started the conversion JPEG to PNG, converting to, here's the conversion directory if we want to look at it manually, which is sometimes very useful. Right here it is. So then you can just like open it in Finder even and be like, okay, here's the input and here's the output. Awesome, that looks correct. And then we go back and it says, okay, here were, this is my debugging a little bit, but the inputs were this file, the output was this file, and we uploaded it to this artifact ID. And so now we should be able to download it. Boop. And download number 11. We've been testing this a lot. There we go. Fantastic. So that worked, which is excellent. So the next thing that we really want to test is, can we go like test, let's just do test PNG again. Let's do this PNG. Now we should be able to convert this to a PDF just fine. It looks like it exploded. Okay, we downloaded the file and then we stopped. Starting conversion, downloading file, found 0. We didn't get any errors. We didn't get anything. It just stopped. So let's go debug. In we go. So here's our index file for our converters. So we hit the main. So we found one conversion, we call convert, starting the conversion, c.id. We downloaded the file. That looks like it worked correctly. Starting conversion, downloading file, no, right? Did this throw? Starting conversion, and then we have the same phrase, starting conversion again. So let's change this, downloaded, to make it easier, right? Looking up conversion. Okay, and then something in here through. This never was called, so get object looks like it might have broken. Let's go ahead and see if we logged an error in our database, refresh. Error, could not convert, the specified key does not exist. So uploading it failed, question mark, right? We should have uploaded, if this was conversion of this, then we have a stage and stage 1. So this would have failed. Hello, Sharose, welcome. So this is stage 3.5, and then artifact here belongs to stage 3.5. So like we just didn't upload it, I guess. Image.png. Said it was uploaded. We can go check S3 if we really want to. It's a little funky in terms of bugs, as far as bugs go. Let's just check out our upload route. File uploaded successfully. We did get that, so I imagine params.key. Where are we at? We are working through a couple of bugs here to be able to add more converters. So right now we were adding the PDF converter, and that's exposed some complications. PDFs tend to be complicated, and so we were just making sure it was like rock solid before going too deep otherwise. But the goal is to make sure this all kind of works. And right, conversion ID, so that really feels like it should have worked. So what do we got here? File Conversion 0 art. All right. My multi-factor is my camera. We went through this already, right? I should really sign this up before I do it. All right, let's see what happens again here. So test.png, convert to PDF. That should be fine. Convert. Right, is the goal here. This is us getting here. So the upload file application to PDF preview, give that back. So that's all good. Oh, wild. It did work fine this time. I have no idea what happened. Like the upload just failed in a weird way. But then this outputted the PDF fine, right? And so now we can download our PDF. Oof, it is hot in my room. At least you would think we could download the PDF. Download? There we go. Download.pdf. It's a PDF, but it's awful. Okay. So we feel like we have this pretty well under control. Let's just go ahead and commit these, fix small bugs with converting and logs. Push. Okay. You might be able to hear that lovely whistling from the painter. All right. So what we want to do is add back in our types and then make sure we have an expandable way to go from here is kind of where we're at. And then we're going to do the one last awesome thing. So something we need to be able to do that we can't do is if I have, this is a test PDF, right? So this is a W4. It's not filled out. This is what you would fill out in the United States if you wanted, when you like sign up for a new job and you had to say like how much you want to withhold and your, for taxes, and it's all just a big, lovely document. Anyways, it's from the IRS. You can download it. It's very boring. The point is it's a test PDF. And so what we want to be able to do, right, is we want to be able to select, not this test PDF. We can just do our other one. Select it, right, as the test. And we want to be able to convert it to like a JPEG or something. And this is interesting. This is where we got to where we're like, oh, this is tricky. Because when you convert using ImageMagick, and I think this makes sense, when you convert a PDF to a picture, you get one picture per page. And so we have to be able to A, handle that conversion, and then B, download all of those things. And so those are two different parts of this journey that we need to figure out. So here we call convert. And if we go here, right, we see that we successfully downloaded it. We found the PDF to image JPEG. We're converting to JPEG. So here's our directory. We run the command. That's okay. And now for our outputs, we get output 0, 1, 2, and 3. The painters are literally right outside my window. And so what we have to do is we have to make sure that we're uploading all of those artifacts. And we're currently just uploading one of them. So in our conversion here, we get our converters. And if we fail, we fail. We run the conversion. And now we're saying let the output, right, buffer equals this. And we're going to do the conversion. And I don't even think this isn't even correct anymore, but we'll fix this later, right? This is saying for every single converters, we're going to do them all at once, but we don't want to do that. We want to do it one per stage. So this entire thing needs to be wrapped inside even more. And then we upload two, right? We just create one artifact instead of doing one per output. So what we need to do here is there's a couple of things we can do. I wonder if we can, well, let's just put it in for loop for now, but really we want to like make sure the order stays correct. But we can just do that easily, right? So for const b, we'll do buffer of output. And I'm not generally a fan of like imperative for loops, imperative for loops, but it allows async await to be trivially added, right? So we're going to create an artifact. And actually we want this to be, we want to get the, why would you do this? Const buffer. Right, so we want to do it this way because we want this to be I. So now we're going to create one artifact connected to that, and we're going to say we saved the artifact ID, and then we're going to upload it inside this for loop. And so now we have the artifact for each one, and we're doing, now we can just do this as the buffer. So we got rid of that silly, just 0 statement. And then we're going to upload it. And that should be all set. And then at the end of all that, we're going to run our conversion and we're going to say we're done. So now we're going to upload each of these and we can run this entire test PDF again. So we need to kill our conversion service, restart it. And now we can test the test PDF again. We can convert to JPEG. We can click convert. And we can look at our logs. So here we now have saved all 4 of those outputs, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have our outputs and now we can keep going. So that's good. Now, of course, when we go to download it, it's going to explode again. So in our download, here we're writing some code. So we get the last stage. Let's see if this makes sense. And if the stage has multiple artifacts, we're going to create an archive. For each artifact, we download it. This is hard-coded again. It's going to be, I guess, that, no, right? We can just do conversion stages.length, right? That's the last one, so that should be a little better. We get the stream, and then we append the stream into the archive. And this is this for loop. And then at the end, we're going to return the archive as a zip. So this might work. Let's go ahead and see what we get for a download. So this should be a zip. Error, 500. All right. So we got a 404 from S3. The specified key does not exist. What was our specified key? Here is number 2. Because the length was 2. So the length needs to be 0, right? The length is 2, but we want the last one, so -1. Let's see if we can just refresh if that works. The input source must be a valid stream or buffer instance. Okay. So we got the stream and then we appended the stream and it did not like that. We're transforming it to web stream. Maybe you can transform it to a byte array, which is just a uint array. And that's a promise too. So we have to await that. So that's not quite a buffer, right? This wants it to be an actual write readable or buffer, and it's not actually a buffer. Although I think we covered this in my GitHub examples. A bit of SaaS examples. Do I put it here? Next, file upload, app, API, route. Right, this is the array buffer, so maybe I can just do buffer from bytes. This does mean we're putting it all into memory, which is not exactly what we want. Okay. Okay. Not bad face. Farisa, hi Ethan from Morocco. Your project videos aren't visible in the video tab. Consider creating a dedicated playlist for them. Your project videos aren't visible in your video tab. I want to say, I thought, so if I go to my channel, what I have is, I mean, I'm live here, which is fun. Oh, the video tab? What do we have here? Interesting. I have it on my homepage, if that helps. I have past live streams on my homepage. I don't know what I can do on the video tab itself. Like we have the live tab. I thought this was just all the videos. And then I can build out like playlists and stuff here. So are you saying maybe you want to have like a playlist for these so I can have some more stuff here instead of having them like in the live section, which I can do for sure. Doran, I'm glad I came across your live stream. Welcome to the stream. We're refreshing 500s to see if we can successfully download a zip. What is going on here? Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? I've never seen Chrome panic this hard on downloading a zip. It's trying to resume it, which to me feels like might not be working. What do we got? What's our terminal say? I think we fixed that. So in theory, we're just now getting the body and transforming it. Oh God. Oh, it's so loud. I wonder if I can turn off that as much as possible. Testing. Oh, that is brutal. Okay, so we're still trying to download this. Let's give up on that particular file. The noise just continues. Okay. Well, we're still got this like download zip 761 kilobytes resuming type thing. Which tells me that we're not quite there. It looks like our stream is working though, right? We're downloading it from, you know, they're big, that's fine. But we're downloading, we got the uint array. This looks like it could be a buffer type object. So for each of these artifacts, we are here. In this, we did that successfully. We are downloading them successfully. We're getting the stream successfully. This returns right. This does return a promise, and then this returns a promise. It's kind of annoying. There's two promises there, right? We're not throwing an exception, so we're getting the stream, and then we're doing buffer from that archive append, and then we return the next response, the archive, as any in this case, saying here's the application zip, here's the content disposition, right? Which so download.zip. So that's how it got all this. This noise is a sound for battle. They're going to battle on my house. Okay, there was quite a few boards on the outside. It's wood siding that were just like relatively rotten, so they're definitely doing a good job by fixing all this. But I'm sorry. I mean, the choice was like not stream at all or deal with a little bit of noise. So thank you for being patient. Okay, so our download zip is totally failing, which is frustrating. But now that the streaming part isn't working, maybe this doesn't matter so much to try and get the archiver work. Like this just, right, this seems like it's doing the right thing-ish, and now we're trying to return it, and that's just not actually returning, you know, the full archive. Slowly moving a table without lifting it. It's like we're getting close to like chalkboard nails, right? Just like, oh God. It's not ideal, I'll say that. But you know what? Gotta do what you gotta do. So, oh man, like this is a stream which we're turning, but then like the actual, maybe we're not doing something here quite right. I know Vercel AI SDK. So their little AI thing, if we go look on GitHub, they had a little packages core streaming response. So in their streaming response, basically all they do, they have a readable stream. They pipe through data. I don't know what's happening there. Stream to response. They're just basically setting the status to 200, the content type to the content type, and then they get the reader. Oh, we need to call friends. Archiver, right? This is archiver. We need to call finalize to close the stream. So if we do this and mute ourselves, okay. Update that to not fix it. I swore that was going to be doing it. We had to like close the stream when we were done adding the things to it, right? Add, append, buffer, file, name, finalize. We are done appending files, but streams yet to finish yet. Archive, right? And then it looks like it almost did finish the request. Almost. So if I restart the dev server or save something, it looks like this one actually finished, right? And if you open it, oh my God, look at it. Okay, like we're so close. Hi, Zoki. They're doing work on my house outside. And the painters are currently like right around my office area, banging and whacking on things. And I'm trying to do, you know, just a casual stream to like push our you know, our SaaS forwards so we can sell it, so we can make some money. And we're so close. So if I do a full refresh, does that kill it? No, Chrome still downloads in the background. So we need to, it seems the YouTube money's already been used. All $20 of that sweet, sweet YouTube money. Yeah. Don't quit your day job, friends. Okay. We are so close here. We are doing this. We don't really need this stuff, but maybe we can. This is the archive, right? Maybe we can do on good practice to catch warnings. We can see if there's any warnings on error, right? Maybe we can do both of these just to see if they're throwing out something that we're missing. Right, so archive, warning, let's just console log everything. Console dot warn. And then error, right? We don't need to throw, we just want to do that. So in the streams, this looks like it's working fine, and this looks like it's working fine. And then our append seems like it's working fine. And now we are calling finalize. So I feel like we're there. We're just not quite there. Let's restart the dev server just to see if that had anything to do with it. Yeah. No. This is some of the freelance money though, for sure. So, you know, you gotta make money, you gotta spend money. The house is getting painted. It's all good. Don't you love the app directory? Just casually crashes. All right, let's try this one more time. We're gonna delete these. Delete? Hello? All right, here's our test document, open. Convert to JPEG. The conversion works, everything works but the download. We're so close. Oh my God, we did it. We had to restart the dev server. Oh my God, look at these. Oh, they're so bad quality, but it works. But it works. And now when you have multiple artifacts to download, it does properly put them into a zip that you can download. So that handles one of those kind of use cases of like, I want to turn my PDF into a JPEG and then download it. Now, the fact that they're terrible quality is something we're going to have to deal with pretty soon. But for right now, I think we're good. Okay, so let's go fix, download, fix, archive, download. All right, friends, this is looking really, really, really good. So let's go back to my little to-do list here. We need to do that still. We need to do that still. We did do that, and we did test the PDF to JPEG. So we need to go back to our converter, and I want to add in, you know what I should probably do? I should probably have better chapter headings. All right, now that we finished the archive, what we are going to focus on next is we are going to add in a couple more converters for our image conversion. Because if you notice, when you upload something, go back to our little testing directory. If you upload something, we kind of removed several things here. So now it's like less full, right? And I want to be able to convert to anything. So we're going to add back in. And so basically we're going to see what we can do for adding in support for like more or less everything that ImageMagick knows how to convert to. So if we just add something here, let's see, then it's going to automatically add the everything to everything, which I think is okay because this is going to read it in and we're going to skip PDFs. So let's just kind of go through and see what we got here. So ImageMagick has, that's the tool we're using to do the conversions, right? Image list. Magic identify list format. So on this computer, this is everything it knows how to do. And there's probably ways to add more of these. Right? MPEG video stream blows my mind. Some of these are read only, some of these, most of these are read write. So let's go to most popular image formats. Or maybe most common, ideally, is probably it. HubSpot blog, 15 best image formats. Whatever, ChatGPT. Let's do list out the top 15 most common image formats found. Don't explain any of them. Just order them. Just rank them in popularity. All right, this is probably pretty good. All right, sweet. Okay, Photoshop's going to be interesting, definitely. That'll be an interesting challenge. I don't even know if ImageMagick supports PS. What do we got here? PostScript, PSD, read write plus. Okay, friends, you saw it first here. Let's see what we can get for these formats. So here we have our list. Thank you, ChatGPT. I'm going to move it over here to the side. And now what we can do is in our nodes, and again, we might need to do a little work here. The idea is we can do, right, we have JPEG, that's the first one. We have PNG, we have GIF. I might as well just order these in terms of like commonalities. Then it says BIMP. Right, BMP. Let me thank you. They're still making noise. Hopefully they're done for a little bit here. So our Photoshop type is this. And so we can kind of just add this in. I'm trying to keep it like as close to the name itself. It's like, I don't know if that's good necessarily, but that's kind of how like the organization is. Colo, is that GitHub Copilot you're using for free? I do pay the monthly fee. So I've currently pay for that. I pay for ChatGPT, although I don't even know if I need to pay anymore. Like is GPT-4 still behind a paywall? I honestly don't even know. PDF. Okay, now we can do like SVG. SVG. I've been using it a little more lately, trying out like its chat functionality, because there's a couple things that like I should be doing and don't, mainly in terms of like writing tests. And so for a lot of stuff, you're like, tests aren't super important, which I think when you are building something and hacking it together, it's better to get something working than to get something correct. Because if it doesn't work, then it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Now that's focused on like personal projects as opposed to like a business application you work on with a team, in which case tests are much more important in that sort of environment, right? But so what I did for like these index tests is I just asked Copilot to write this for me, right? Like check the resulting buffer to see if it has the JPEG magic numbers in this file signature. Like, I don't know what that is. Copilot just tossed that in and was like, yep, that's how you check if it's a JPEG. And I was like, wow, okay. Turns out it's right. So super useful in that regard. PSD, SVG, now we do WebP. WebP, right? Basically just tossing these in. I skipped raw. This is like raw file formats, which if you like take pictures with a nice camera, you can get the file data in a raw format, but it looked like there were several. And so I need to do a little more research into figuring out like how we define what a raw format is, or if we define them all, right? Are we done with the authentication part yet? We have not done the authentication part yet. We're focusing mostly on getting the conversion to work, and then we're going to let everyone convert anything they want. And then when people start converting a lot of stuff, we will add an authentication to allow us to rate limit what people are doing. So this is going to be right, and I guess I should just do lowercase names for these. And this is HSC. Okay. ICO, we have it there. What is TGA? True Vision TGA. A raster's graphic file format by True Vision, native format for Vista boards. What is this actually something that? What? Has anyone ever used this before? Is this actually something? This seems ridiculous. I feel like JPEG. Do we support JPEG X and JPEG 2000? Those are probably more common, right? Where's our J's? Here's JPEG 2000, so we can do that. And then I guess there's two, JSC and J2K. I don't see here's JPEG X. Yeah, cool. So we can also do JPEG X as well. There's a bunch of meme types for this, right? So we also want to do JPM and JPX. So honestly, what I might do here, now what this means it's going to show up multiple times. So we might just end up picking a canonical version, but this will be fine for right now. We're exploring the entire problem space, right? And then we'll collapse it back. Okay, and then there is JPEG X. JPEG XL, there we go. And this is image JPEG X, JXL. Crushed it. All right, so if we go ahead and go back to our project and just restart the dev server, we should have now an absolute ton of file formats. Now, what's going to make this project work and be successful is the thing we're going to need, right? The thing we're going to do is we need this to work flawlessly every time. People will give this one chance for their first time. Someone's going to send them a link. They're going to click a file to select. They're going to say, like, this is what I need. Call it my PNG. And they're going to explode. Image JXL. It does not know what that meme type is. Oh, that's interesting. What are we doing? This is MemeDB. Oh, God. Pull requests. Looks like our database is already not working. Okay. They have JPEG XL. Just trying to see if they have any sort of reference to this JPEG X. Okay, well, this is going to be a problem. If our library can't support it, then we'll have to just make our own, which honestly feels like something we should be doing anyways. Okay, refresh. Let's try this again. Test PNG, convert. Okay, so now check it out. Look at all this. Look at all these. Look at all these. So we don't have them all, but we are doing a lot better. And so we can do like Photoshop? Question mark? I can't even open Photoshop files, I don't think. So I don't even know if this is, I don't even know if it's gonna work. Oh, this is gonna break because we had to restart the conversion. Ooh. Interesting, that's a bug. Okay, we'll fix that later. Let's try this one more time. We restarted our converter in the back end. Download. Okay, who here can open Photoshop files? It does say it's a Photoshop document, and I guess I can open it with Preview or Pixelmator. Pixelmator can open it. It looks okay. I think we just made a Photoshop document. But even better, right? The better thing is going to be to someone sends you a PSD, right? And you open it and you're like, no, give me a PNG, please. And you click convert. And then you can download it. And now you have a zip file? Interesting. The output of the Photoshop was 2 different files. So maybe because there's like multiple layers or something, even though there's not. I only see 1 layer here. This doesn't quite seem like my fault though. That's fine. That's fine. That's an acceptable bug for right now because I don't even know how Photoshop works, so we can figure that out later. Okay. Awesome. So now we have finished adding a whole bunch of different file formats. And so when you go to convert, you now have a bunch of images. And we want to be able to take this further, but for right now, this is pretty good. Now, what we're going to have to do, and honestly, what will take the most amount of time going forwards, is going to be making sure these all work correctly and very well, right? So someone's going to upload like a PNG or PDF and they're going to want to go to an SVG. Something like that's going to happen. And we're going to want to make sure that's like just the best conversion that we can possibly do. And so we're going to probably have to end up getting pretty specific with the options we're passing through to the underlying tools to do that conversion, because we want the conversions to be great. And if we know, well, a PDF is like a vector image, and so we want the quality to be high, so we're going to pass in these parameters to make sure the SVG is also high quality. For example, when we converted to a JPEG, like this is what it looks like. I can't make this any better. It's awful, right? Like the quality here is just not good. It's all pixelated. So we need to work through these sorts of things and be like, okay, if someone says they give us a PDF, but they want a JPEG, we want the quality to be high, so we're going to pass through these options. So we're just going to have to write a bunch of tests for that and test it locally and make sure you end up with like a high quality conversion. And so having a lot of these is important, but then making them really good is going to be the next important thing, because you want that, right? You want that for your users. You want it to be a really, really nice conversion. So the fact that we can do it is step one. Make it work and then make it good. So we're, again, this will just be quite a bit of iterating and playing with the options and making sure these are high quality conversions. All right, new converters done. Okay. In the spirit of adding lots of converters, what we're going to do next is we're going to add audio conversion. So what we're going to do is we're going to commit this. And run to the bathroom. Fix that. We're going to do audio. So when I come back, we are going to look at doing audio conversions. I'm going to mute the mic in case the painters come back. And we're going to run through basically the same thing we did here with our image converters, but we're going to apply it to audio. We'll have to get a couple of pieces of test audio, and we're also going to have to look into FFmpeg and how that works, which I don't even know if it's installed yet. I think it might be. Yeah. No, I have FFmpeg. All right. BRB. Okie dokie. So we're going to run through and now add the ability to convert audio files. And again, to start, this is just going to be audio to audio for the most part. So like format to like format. This will also probably be the most common thing to do for audio formats. Someone sends you something in, I don't know, M4P and you want it as an MP3 for whatever reason. And so you want to just kind of convert from one format to another format. And this is going to use under the hood the fabulous tool FFmpeg, which basically has a billion options for doing a whole bunch of magical things with audio and video streams. And so we are going to add this in, and then we're going to see how it works and test it, and go from there. So to start, we're just going to kind of take the same sort of approach we did here in the image, where we're going to take in a image magic converter and go ahead and basically copy all this because it's going to be very similar. We'll rename it to be the same file to keep things consistent. And we are going to start from here. So this is going to be FF MPEG. I don't know what the stylization is there. It'll extend a converter, which we have defined in types. And then we have this also defined. So for the most part, it's going to follow the same stuff to begin with, which is going to almost be identical. So yes, there is an opportunity to make these go into an even more common class, but I also don't feel bad just copying and pasting to start. This is file extension to meme. This should be the same thing over here. So better definition for that function. And then here's the exec function, which we will take from here. This uses promisify, which is a utility which can turn a callback into a promise in Node. And then we will read out all the files, read out the data, and we're good to go. So the thing that's going to be different here is this exec functionality, right? So instead of calling convert, we're going to call FFmpeg. And we're going to have to change this a little bit to match what FFmpeg expects. But the flow of the conversion is the same, where we're going to download whatever file it is from S3. We're going to save it to disk so FFmpeg can work on it easily. We're going to call FFmpeg. We're going to get the output. We're going to send that back to S3. So we can now create a nodes.ts file similar to this, and we will pull in that, and then we can export the nodes. Having this be the same between our little packages means it's very easy to understand like what's going on, just jumping into something. And so to start, let's ask ChatGPT, come back. What are the most popular audio file formats with their extensions and meme types? Don't explain them, just list them. You gotta tell it exactly what you want. Don't explain. Here's the list. Thank you. Great. So MP3 WAV files, is that popular still? So let's do MP3, let's do WAV, audio MPEG and audio WAV. Right, so this is audio MPEG. And we need at least 2 of these to be able to convert between them. So So we can do audio wave, audiot. That'll be a problem. Wave. And lastly, let's do AAC, just to have 3. Perfect. All right, so now we have these, and so back in our, this is again probably the place where we're gonna have to do some work here to change it up, but we basically just have this little janky thing, which is like for each of the nodes, you know, create a new converter and then export all the converters. So copy that, go over here, and we'll just pull it in for right now. So nodes, we're just going to import our local nodes. We don't need this. And we do want the converter output as well. So right now our converters are just an array of converters, but it's probably going to make more sense to have like a registry of converters. And that way we can put some more logic all in one place around like how do you get from A to B. So that's something that we can do in the future. Future being soon, probably. Okay, so everything works, everything compiles. Let's go ahead and go back here and recompile our entire thing. Now, nothing's gonna be wired up yet. There's a couple things we need to do. First of all, we need a test audio file. So download free licensed music MP3s. Royalty-free music download seems fine. What do we got here? Let's do some background music, just something chill. What's Forest Lullaby? All right, sounds good to me. Download. Great. So now we have this. So we're gonna go back to our testing directory. Let's just make a new, wow, how does that audio test directory? It's nice to just like keep everything here. We're gonna name this test mp3 and toss it in here. And so now we have this test mp3. So cd downloads audio test, and now we have this, right? So we can just how to convert mp3 to AAC with ffmpeg. Just give the command. I could also Stack Overflow this. I think I could just do it out of memory, but cool. So this is what ChatGPT recommends, which is, we'll call this test, right? And then output. So it does some thinking, and then we're done, right? So now we have output.m4a. So if we listen to this, and then this, you know, same thing. So what this is doing here is we need to do -i for the input. So that's gonna be something that we have to have for our input options. And then these are all output options. And so -c:(a), ChatGPT's explaining this, I don't know this off the top of my head. This sets the audio codec to be AAC, which is what we want. -b:(a) sets the bit rate to 128 kilobits per second. So we can make that higher quality if we wanted to, depending on what you needed. This is probably going to be user configurable at one point. And then the output name here. So we basically want these as potential options, although I'm curious what happens, right? It seemed like the second one was optional. So if we do this again, -b, like what if I don't set that at all? And ffmpeg says 256 kilobits per second. So maybe it just maps that stream over directly without changing it, or it reads it in and doesn't actually change whatever it is. So if we look back here, output 2 looks like it would be fine. So that seems like an optional parameter. So we probably don't need to have that. And then of course, just for sanity checking, if we do output 3 and get rid of this copy of the AAC, what happens there? So here we have output 3 also as an M4A, and all we did for the command was input test and output M4A. Sounds like it's fine. So stream mapping comes in MP3 and then it says AAC. So I don't think we actually need any of those at all. So the only thing we really need is we need the -i, because if we don't have -i, it just says those are both output, right? Output file does not contain any stream. It didn't have any input streams. So back in our code, this makes our input options pretty easy. So we're going to take any options from the input node. And we're always going to return -i. And then whatever options they might also want. So we'll have options and then we'll do -i, and then that's going to be followed by the inputs themselves. And so then the output options are totally optional. We don't need any of those. And then the output is the output. So we'll see how this explodes, but this should work. What we need to do now is wire it up. So to wire it up, we have our graph, right? And remember, or don't remember, each of the nodes we defined are nodes in this graph, and we need to bring them together and connect them. So we have the nodes, the image nodes, but now we're going to include the audio nodes from audio. And so we can do const all nodes, including the image nodes and the audio nodes. And so now we can replace this with this. And so now we have all of the nodes in our graph. Now, not all converters can convert to every other type. This is going to make sense. We will only support converting from some types to some types, but we'll be able to chain converters together to get to anything to anything. And so the converters are going to come in, and we want this to be now audio converters. And so we're going to do the same thing where this is audio converters, and we're just going to pass them in. And so now for each of the converters, all of them, we're going to add them to the graph. We're going to look up the node they're from to the to and put it into our graph. Now our graph, unfortunately right now, is not fully connected, right? We basically have a bunch of audio nodes over here and a bunch of image nodes over here. And then we're going to add in like a bunch of document nodes up here and a bunch of video nodes down here. And so you won't be able to convert from anything to anything quite yet. And then we're going to add in a few key converters to be able to like convert plain text, for example, to audio. And when you do that, then you'll be able to jump from one of those kind of areas of the graph to another area of the graph. And we're just going to get it to be more and more complicated over time. We'll see how far we go. I think there's a lot of potential to go down certain rabbit holes, right? Part of this is when you're building out a product, do you want it to be breadth first, where you're covering a lot of ground, or depth first? Do you want to go really, really deep in one area? And I would recommend generally doing depth first. Like pick some subset of the problem space and go super, super deep in that problem space. And so here we're kind of going breadth. We're kind of letting people do a whole bunch of things, and we're going to use that as a feeler to see what's popular. And then when we find something that's kind of popular, we'll build in that direction and see if we can make something really, really good. So one thing I know that's going to be relatively popular are doing any sort of manipulation with PDFs. Most people don't want to deal with PDF software. PDF software can be very complicated. There's a lot you can do with PDFs. So building out a little bit there is going to be good. And we'll kind of see where that goes. So now that we've added this, we should be able to restart and rebuild our graph. Okay, we have our first issue, which is our audio can't find the converter types. So we need to fix our imports, which is slightly annoying. Lib, nodes, util, path, promises. This is because we're using a different TypeScript. We want to go, what? Converter is up 1. I define this in types. Okay, fix that, fix that. This doesn't use the next.js build system, it uses our own build system. So here you can see a bunch of our images all have a ton of edges, they all connect to each other, and our audio stuff only connects within itself, so they all just have 3. So you cannot convert an image to audio yet. How can you convert image to audio? I think the most common way to do that is going to be one of 2 things. One, it's going to be run OCR on the image, get the text, and then turn the text into audio. That's probably what people want to do the most when they think about that. Although just image to text is probably more useful, but you could do image to audio. And then the other thing could be you could get a description of the picture and turn that into audio, right? But all of these sorts of things basically turn the file into text first and then turn the text into audio. And so that's how it is gonna run. Let's go ahead and just restart the dev server. I don't trust it. So convert any file to anything, do a hard refresh. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so select a file. So now we can do our audio test, right? And we should be able to just delete all those. So if I upload this, what do we got? So it has everything. And it's lying. So don't let it lie. The other thing is it's not pulling in the format. So here we're gonna do this import nodes as, right, this is our audio nodes. So we need to expose these to our front end audio nodes. And the reason this is in a separate place is because we want to import these nodes from this file. This file can't have any server-side code in it, neither can this one. So let's save that. And now try it again, test. So it will do, okay, unknown meme type audio AAC. That's wild. Feels like that should be a fairly common one. Are you serious? This library is killing me. It's awful. Okay, we don't need you anymore. Like, how can this say to have meme DB, right? How can it say to have, we have all these types and you don't have AAC? Changes requested. Thanks. I have a few questions. You added AAC audio 8. It's not clear from the source is linked to that type. Can you provide? What? This has been closed since 2017? They just like never added these? Okay. So we have decided that this is a terrible library and we are going to get rid of it and we're going to write our own and it's going to be better. But I don't want to do that right now. So instead, we're going to go here. So this is what? Meme to file extension, and it threw an error and it said unknown meme type. So what we're going to do is we are going to add in our own const meme to extension. And here we will do audio AAC to AAC, right? And so now we can just do our own little check where we can say const, oh my God. Oh God. Painters smashing things against my house. So the extension is now our meme extension here, or we get it from the library here. And then we're going to probably have to do this one too, right? Because it's going to freak out the other way. So this is now extension to meme. Although I don't know if we actually do this too much. So now we're just going to do the same thing here, right? But reverse. So now the const meme is going to be that, right? So we're basically injecting our own little catch before this to catch common things because the library is awful and doesn't support it. Are we done? Let's see. You have PDF conversion to Word or PowerPoint. Not yet, but we will. That's coming in the next section. We'll see how far we get today. We're going to do some audio. I was going to do some video because it's going to be very similar. And then we were going to do documents. And when we do documents, we will have PDF to Word documents and PowerPoints, hopefully. So stay tuned, Doran. And Colo, wait, so basically changing image to audio is just an audio that describes what the image looks like. Okay, Colo, how else could we do that? That's my question back to you, right? If you have an image, how else would you turn that image into audio that makes sense? The only two things I could think of would be audio that describes the image. So it's like alt text, right? Like if you're on a website and blah, 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 like you go to, I don't know, maybe Airbnb. You're like, okay, here's my Airbnb. And it's like, here's this image. Well, do they not even have alt text on it? I would imagine, right? Okay, Airbnb is awful, terrible website. No accessibility at all. This is like an SVG, whatever. You're all terrible. I would imagine, right? Like it'd basically be like alt text for the image, right? You could like read the alt text and be like, this is what the image is sort of thing. Right? If you were visually impaired looking at a website, then your screen reader reads the alt text of what the image is. And that's like an image to audio. So it makes sense to me you could do the same sort of thing, but have some API, right? That handles that sort of thing without you having to write the alt text itself. Now, what API out there exists that can describe an image? The only one I can think of off the top of my head is Midjourney, where you can ask it to describe an image you give it, and it gives you like the prompt it would use to create that image, which is not exactly what you want, but pretty close. So Google might have something too that like does something like that, right? But that's kind of the idea. If there's another way to do it, I'm all ears, because I think it'd be fun to have multiple ways to do it. All right, so here's our test again. Convert. And now, again, we just have a blob of stuff. So we'll break this out into like images, audio, video, documents. Let's do AAC because we just fixed that. Okay, now let's click convert. So we uploaded. Hello, Jose. Welcome. Converting. Let's check out our converter. Oh, it did this weird thing again where it says downloading and then it just died. Okay, let's just refresh and see if this is like this is a weird bug. Let's try it again. Just click through AAC convert. It says it's uploaded. Last time we did this, we just had to like refresh it. Okay, no. So here we have, this is definitely some sort of bug, but we need to figure out what it is. So this key, right, that we uploaded is the same as this one that we downloaded. So we downloaded it and then it continues on, which means it exploded, which means we check our database, which means we go to conversion, we check it, we do updated, created out something, and it says the specified key does not exist. So our upload, this feels like a race condition because it happens sometimes, right? But we are awaiting the put object. So it's not like we're not awaiting this, right? S3 put object returns a promise, put object output, which is a whole bunch of blah, 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 blah stuff. But all we need is like, yeah, just put that object up there. Should be fine. Body's a buffer. We read that in, right? Buffer bytes like this. Should be fine. And then we return this, but it's saying that this key does not exist. Key conversion 0, stages 0, artifact 0, and in our converter, we go ahead and we're calling get object with the download params, which is the bucket and the key. And we checked and the key is the same. And we call get object with those parameters and we await it. So this is throwing the bucket. Is our bucket different? Let's just make sure like this is doing what we downloading test download params. So if I go back to here and I change this to pending and I remove this error, we should be able to just download it again. The joys of having a database right at your fingertips. Oh, look at this. That worked. Dev converter, ETH and SAS, that's fine. Starting conversion. So is there some eventual consistency problem here where we're uploading something and then trying to download it so quickly that it's not found? That's interesting. S3 upload file can't download immediately. Seems like a strong read after write consistency for puts. Are you sure about that, Amazon? Okay. So what else could be going wrong there? Oh, I know what's going on. Oh, this is fun. So in our upload, I gotcha. In our upload, right? We go ahead and we create this conversion process first. So we create the conversion, we create all the stages, and we create the artifact as well. And then we upload it. Which means if we check to do a conversion before this completes, or after this completes, but before this finishes uploading, then we're going to try and read something that doesn't exist. The reason we did that was because we wanted the key to upload. We want to set the key instead of just a random UUID. We wanted to set it to be the artifact ID. Now we can fix this in a couple of ways. one way is instead of using the artifact ID, we can add an additional property to the artifact that is like key, and we can define what the key is, and then because we're defining what the key is, we can upload the file first and then set it on the artifact. Now this means we essentially have two IDs, right? One ID is the artifact ID, which is like an internal ID, so that's fine, and then the key is what we set for where it's stored in S3. The other thing we could do would be to add an additional status. So we have a conversion status of pending, processing, done, error. But we could add in a status of uploading. And then when we go and we check our converters in our index, here we say, give me all the conversions that are pending. But if we start with a status of uploading, then we won't find it right here, right? And then we just have to set it to say, okay, now we're pending after uploading. I think that's a better way to do it. I think I'd rather do it that way. So let's go to our schema and our conversion status. Let's add in uploading. And let's be a little naughty and just blow away our database again. So we can rm-rf Prisma migrations, and we can create a new migration. It's going to delete our database, and that's fine. Barrage. Hey man, really love work you're doing. Just a quick question. I'm a first year in Nepal, pretty good skills in next.js. How can I get remote jobs, open source or otherwise? This is what I assume, or just like how do I get remote jobs, open source or other things? Well, I mean, that is the age-old question. How can I sort of get into a new industry, right? Whether you're learning a new skill or getting out of school or something. You or someone else might have asked me that as a comment, and I haven't quite gotten back yet. But our general advice is focus as much as you can on getting to be as technically strong as you can. Oh, that's something different. I'm looking at my code, right? So work on the skills, work on building stuff, work on being fast, make sure you know your editor, make sure you understand, as many parts of the stack as you can. Software engineering is a huge problem space. Find what you love to do and then focus on those things that bring you joy, because it will help the long career you're going to have as you embark in this sort of world. And once you're focusing on technical skills, I think that's going to help you demonstrate what you can do to potential employers. And so that means two things. A, I think doing some projects help. And I think having those projects be either open source or contributing to open source projects helps. You're just interacting with other people. You're working on building out your skills. You're working on interpersonal relationships and building out those sorts of skills, the soft skills that are very important as well. And it also gives you something to show. Like, I've done these things, I've built this stuff, I've contributed these places, right? And the more you do that, the more chances you have to run into people, and the more opportunities you're going to have that you can try to take advantage of to get yourself out there. And then the last thing is just you need to apply places. And that's hard and takes a long time and it can be a slog. And if you don't have a lot of network, then it feels desperate at times, right? You're just like sending your resume out into the world and not getting any response. But I think that is certainly part of it. You have to shoot your shot. You have to just, try to apply. Things aren't always going to come to you. You need to put out there, you're looking for a job. And so places like Hacker News and like Get Hired on Hacker News and just like job postings and things like that, right? And then just talk to people and kind of see how you can help people. That goes a long ways. Back to our upload in our API. We're now going to change this from conversion status pending to uploading. And now we have our conversion. After it's uploaded, we can await Prisma conversion update. Where the idea is that data status is conversion pending. Now we should have fixed that bug. All right, perfect. So now that bug is fixed, we can see what our actual attempt to convert happened. What happened here? This exploded in some. Oh, I killed the database. That's why. That's fine. Never mind. It's fine. So way up here we have our conversion. We downloaded. We looked up the conversion. MPEG to AAC converting conversion directory, and then it stopped. Okay, conversion directory was temp here. So let's go to that directory. There's nothing in this directory. Oh, maybe because it didn't download successfully? No, it should have worked. So we got here, we did pre-write, we got our conversion directory, we did write, and I guess this failed. So the incoming buffer, maybe we didn't have, right? This should work because this should work because this should work. So let's go check our database. Refresh. Oh, well, we just deleted everything. Who decided to do that? Let's do a big old refresh and try again from the top, friends. Dev, dev, dev. All right, so from the top, it's really nice not needing a user account for this because you can just like delete the database and go and go and go and go and go. Refresh. Take a breath. Cleanse your area. Watch as next.js fails to load the chunk. Unbelievable. Listen to the painters. Load test. Convert. AAC. Convert. Okay, that percentage needs to be fixed, but it's just honestly a hilarious bug. Restart the conversion service. Starting the conversion. Downloading file. Looking at conversion. Conversion directory crashed. Go here. Refresh. Error. Could not convert unknown file extension audio MPEG. Okay, so they don't have audio MPEG either. Oh my god, this is such a worthless library. What's frustrating about this is I'm like monkey patching the library, right? So what we're gonna do is the same thing. Audio MPEG, right? And now Copilot can take over the rest. And then we can do the same thing here, right? Great. So we're monkey patching the library, basically making a wrapper around it, which is going to call our stuff first. But like, I shouldn't have to do this. I just expect your library to work. So the second your library, whatever you're doing doesn't work, I'm going to get rid of it and do it myself, because then at least I have total control. So that'll be a project for off stream, probably pretty boring. Just, you know, rip it out and try it again. So we can now go back to pending here and delete the error. This is like a really sweet trick to be able to do that, right? And then restart the conversion process and see what we get. Okay, so conversion directory, same thing. Could not convert unknown file extension audio MPEG. Okay, so I think we have a bug in our converter. And I think I fixed the wrong thing. This is what's breaking, right? Executing FFmpeg. So we can see here. No, not quite. Looking at conversion directory. Could not convert unknown file extension. So could not convert comes from, this is kind of, comes from here, where we find the path, call converting. This throws an exception, and we just say could not convert. So one thing we need to do here is console.error for sure, because we need to know what the error message is without looking it up in the database. That'll make our debugging faster. And then it looks like our conversion itself here is failing. So we get in here, but we're not writing it, I think, successfully. So file extension to meme, this should be, right, extensions. No, we want meme to file extension. Right, so we're writing this, we got the wrong one. So this is meme to file extension. It needs to be the same thing over here, right? Because the meme type is what we have, yeah. So now we can quit this, go back here, change this back to pending, delete the error just so we know it's all cleaned up. And now we can run this again and see what we got. Okay, so now we downloaded, we looked up the conversion, we're converting to AAC, we ran ffmpeg-i input mp3 output AAC. Input was that, output was output AAC, and we saved it. So that should have worked. And our user interface correctly reflects the download, which I clicked, and it says download.false. Hey, architect, welcome. Thank you, man. Listening to you directly, everyone feels more strong. 19, thinking to learn more stacks, and really, yeah, one of the things I would definitely recommend is focus in a certain area, right? And whatever that is, doesn't need to be next.js, doesn't need to be JavaScript. Like, my favorite areas are full stack next.js, because I love React. And I think full stack's the way to build software. And I also really love Go. Like, Go is a backend sort of technology, or command line tooling is just absolutely fantastic. Really, really enjoy it. Much more so than like Java. And like, I enjoy Go more than Python, right? It's just something I enjoy. So, find what you like, and that'll make doing it better and feel better. Okay, so we almost got this. If we look at download.false, this should be download.aac, and it should work. Okay, so what broke was in our download, right? This is extension. This needs to be meme to file extension. So we need to use the updated method name because their library doesn't have the meme type. So if I download this again, this should just work. Yeah, see, boom, done. It says time 139, but then down here it says time 221. So like, it's clearly 221. I don't even know what's up. All right. So that worked finally. It should work end to end now. And we should be able to like open MP3s and then convert it to like a wave. Yep, there we go. Took a second, but we got there. 23 megabytes? Oh, God. Oh, I've never opened Apple Music before. Oh, no. Not now. Okay, well, it's playing, if you can hear that. All right, sweet. Well, that worked. I don't know why it's 24 megabytes. That's a massive file, but it did exactly what we wanted, and it kind of executed. Yes, we can hear that. Look, I just wanted to make sure you got the sweet, sweet tunes of our project. Okay, so Now, obviously what's going to happen is we're going to push this and, you all are going to go haywire and break it. But if you do like test MP3 and convert to a JPEG, like this is not going to work. So one of the things to fix is going to be to not let you select that until we have it all implemented, right? So this is just going to fail forever because the first place we do in, we could not find the converter, but we run this in the conversion process. We don't run it in the upload process. So we don't check to see if you can actually do the conversion. We just say, yeah, sure, of course you can. And then we fail later. So we want to be able to fail a little faster. Hamza, hello, welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and what terminal am I in? Let's go ahead and commit all this. Feature audio converting. So ChatGPT said the most popular audio extensions were also like Opus, OGG, AIFF, M4A, WMA, stuff like that. So there's a couple more things we will add here. Don't worry. But I think that kind of proves out, right? Proves how we want to do these conversions. Now, FFmpeg is really powerful and it can kind of do a lot of guessing for like what it wants the conversion of the audio codecs to be. We will add in options that allow the user to either override those or allows them to potentially change them. And if we come up with better defaults, right, we might be like, oh, the best way to do this is actually with this codec. One of the most powerful things about software as a service is the ability for us to become domain experts in whatever problem we're tackling, right? So imagine you're building software as a service for vineyards, and you know what that vineyard needs because you've worked on a vineyard and you've grown grapes and you've made wine, right? If you've done that for 10 years because you like working on a vineyard, then you have a very good idea as to what will make fantastic software because you understand what the problems are and you can be the domain expert in that area, right? Now, I haven't worked on vineyards, so I don't have that. So we're kind of taking a broad approach here. But over time, right, if we have 100 people do a conversion of MP3 to AAC, we can like find what the really good defaults are for that conversion that 80, 90, 99% of people want. And then we can spend all that fiddly time tuning and tweaking and making something perfect. And then everyone who uses our service benefits. So like this is the scale of software and the power that we have by working in this sort of manner. Okay. Honestly, video is going to be very similar to audio. So let's do docs. Because documentation is important, JK. Because this is going to be the most different one, and we'll do video later, and it's going to be just like audio, like very similar to audio. Still using FFmpeg. Everything's basically the same. So let's do docs. So we need to convert everything to everything. Can you share the repo link for this project? Hi, architect. It's currently not open source, so I cannot. If you were trying to sell the company, we're trying to sell the product. So if you want to buy it, you can have the source code. That's mostly a joke. So the idea is like, I'm not totally making it open source. However, there's a good chance that we just give up and don't sell it, and then I'll open source it and people can do whatever they want with it. But if you want me to like pull any of this stuff out and make a YouTube video on it, and that video will focus on, whatever it is, that code I'll be very happy to open source and you can copy it. So anything you see here that you're like, ooh, make a video on that, I'm taking notes along the way. of these sorts of requests, and I will make those videos and get them up there once the painters aren't outside my window. Okay. So, documentation, docs. Basically, right, this is like Word documents, text documents, everything. Can you give your basic detail, where you're from, education, what you know? We know you love to build products. Okay, bro. So I am in the United States in terms of where I am in the world. I'm on the East Coast, outside Boston. Went to school and became a software engineer. So I have a degree in software engineering. And I worked in startups for like the last 10 years or so. So I did a startup when I graduated until 2016, then left that startup to do another smaller startup. The first one was CloudMine. The second one was Vertex Technologies. And then in 2020, we were acquired and worked at a company called Synody, which did data migration for a while. And while there, I rewrote like their entire front end. I helped manage their infrastructure. I was on the DevOps rotation. At one point, I was in charge of the AWS account and like the billing for it. I had several direct reports. I was the director of application engineering, and I basically just did everything to try and build their cloud platform for several years. And then after doing that for like 2.5 years, kind of got burned out. Was like, I'm just not feeling it, done. And so I quit and didn't really want to go through the interview process to get another job. So I started my own software development agency, which is just me, but you get me. And now I do freelancing for several clients across the United States, and yeah, just help people how I can. I do a lot of web apps. I do a lot of infrastructure management. I do full stack engineering for kind of all my clients. I'm also very good at like talking with people and working through problems with them. And so a lot of times in software, things are very ambiguous, or the request is ambiguous. They don't really know what they want or how to achieve it. And so I spend a lot of time talking and giving them options and telling them which options are good and working through that. And then once we kind of land on a good place, I write the software. So far this year has been good. I've been doing it since the beginning of the year. So I have no intent of currently getting a new job. We'll see what next year brings. I would love to keep doing this for several years, software development agency, and see kind of how far I can scale it. The idea being probably to make like, I don't know, $300K a year, US dollars. That's the goal. We're not there yet, but we're not doing terribly. So, you know, that's life. So here's a good example. Convert PDF to Word document, right? So here's a bunch of online services that do this, but I don't want that at all. I want command line, right? We're going down to ways to do this on the command line. So we have LibreOffice, which can do it on the command line. AbiWord software. WinExec, that's kind of funny. Windows Word can do that? Interesting. A quiet PDF printer as default? It's crazy. There's also a bunch of projects I can do this, right? DocX2 PDF, right? So we'll probably have to install that stuff. I want to see what Pandoc can do here. So conversion from, conversion to, in and out. So we can convert with Pandoc in and out of Word, RTF, Open Libra, Markdown, structured text, Emacs, textile, texture tags, HTML, ebooks, Latex, exciting. XML stuff. Some bibliographies. PDF. So via some other tools, we can go to PDF, but it looks like we don't have a way to get out of PDF. So that's going to be an interesting challenge. We had a request, right? PDF conversion to Word. Yeah. So we can go to PDF pretty easily via a bunch of these tools. So we'll have to see kind of what we think there. This is where it gets definitely fun. And somewhere, I mean, they can obviously do like plain text as well, right? So this is a pretty good place to start. We can go out of CSV, conversion from, so we can do CSV out, which is kind of cool. And then slideshow formats, we can go into Microsoft PowerPoint, right? But we can't go out of Microsoft PowerPoint. So this world, man, this world is going to be crazy. This is where a lot of the hard stuff, I think, is going to come from. Will this program convert PDF to KPub? Is that this? Term used to describe ebooks for Kobo books. What is architect? What is Kobo books? The Kobo company has developed their own variation on standard EPUBs. Kobo e-readers have SQLite databases that read and manage the books coming from them. The application used these in Nickel. Oh my God, it's the only reading application that can read EPUB as well as PDF. Well, it can read PDFs, right? Oh my gosh, I didn't even know this is a thing. Okay. Elements that does or does not support. Tool to convert EPUBs to KPUBs. Okay, so let's see. We have a convert EPUB to Kobo EPUB converter here, right? There's a web app. So that's cool. So what we need to do is we need to convert, right, into EPUB. So pandoc here. I can't find proper translator. I wanted to give you an idea. Oh yeah, right. So pandoc can do EPUB version 2 or 3. So the idea here would be, it looks like the PDF part's give me the most challenging, but the idea would be to go PDF to something. Let's call it a Word document, right? Just for sake of argument. PDF to Word, and then Word to EPUB, and then EPUB to Kobo EPUB. So that's the chain that we would do to make this happen. We still need to find a good way to go PDF to like Word, but let's get pandoc in here first with a couple of these. Like pandoc can't do pages, right? It can't do max version. But that's the idea. That's exactly sort of what we want to be able to do. So installing macOS brew install pandoc. We're going to install on our bare metal machine just to start because this will make our dev time faster. But while that's installing, right, we want to I don't really want to install it from source. We can specify another one. Yeah, so basically we want it's in the okay. So we can do, it's not going to be like the total latest, but here in we have our Docker image for our converter, right? And we install ImageMagick. We can also do ffmpeg and pandoc here. And so this should allow us to basically install all these so we can run it in Docker. Yeah, no problem. Enjoy. I hope you stick around. Hope we, can teach each other something, learn, love it. All right, so we've installed pandoc. So now we can do some conversions. And so now let's go ahead and just like look at how to do some of these conversions. Making an ebook. Oh my God. We could have like a make an ebook website. Like that'd be sweet. Blah, 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 blah. We know how to do that. Pandoc version. Okay, so I don't need this, do I? Using Pandoc as a filter. Don't want to do that. Text editor basics. Converting a file. Here we go. So how looks like the input is just whatever input it is. So this is our test file. And then it has output probably as this. So -o HTML. T might be, no, we could have omitted it since the defaults convert markdown to HTML, but it doesn't hurt to include them. So we'll probably just have to figure out what are the exact things are. In this case, like we're specifying, looks like the format because like it says markdown. So like we're from format to HTML. What's -s? Doesn't say what -s is. Man page, man page, man page. Oh my God, look at all these options. So much fun. So much fun. It's a reference. -c, citation, citations, references, -h, no check certificate, -d, standalone. Produce output with an appropriate header and footer, e.g. a standalone HTML, LaTeX, or RTF file, not fragments. This option is set automatically for PDF, EPUB, EPUB3, docx, ODT. For native output, this option causes metadata to be included. Okay, I like -s. That seems like a good thing to have. Okay, so now we've kind of updated this, we can go to our document converter. And this is going to be a little boring. We're just going to copy our audio converter and pull it over here. And then we'll just copy the nodes here and pull it over here. All right, so we're not going to have audio, right? We need, what are the first things we want to support here? Again, PDFs are going to be tricky, but we can do like markdown or text. Let's do just plain text meme type. I think it's just like text plain. There we go. Okay. So, right, text plain, and then we can do RTF, which is like rich text format, right? So rich text format meme type. RTF, we'll do application RTF. That seems good. Application RTF. And thank you, Copilot. Okay, and then let's do Word documents. So Microsoft Word docx meme type. So this is, right, we have a couple, right? We have the old one, application MS Word, and then we have a new one, which is docx. And we'll do this bad boy. Oh my God, it's huge. Is this all one thing? Jeez. Application MS Word. Look at that. Application VND, open XML format, Office document, word processing, ML document. Turn this line into all caps with underscores like the other lines in the file. Wow. That was not quite what I wanted, but you know, not bad. Okay, and then sort of like one more in here. We could do 2 PDF with Pandoc. We did RTF. I guess we could do like EPUB. Like we can do MediaWiki. It's crazy. It's crazy. DocBook. CSV, read them in. CSL. Yeah, well, let's just start with these for now. We can do HTML too. We'll get there. Right, like render markdown. Okay, so we'll start with these. So now we can do nodes push, make sure we're pushing that. Okay, so we have RTF, we have text plain. Okay, so these are like the 3 test nodes, and we'll expand upon this. And so now we can go here to our converters. This is a pandoc converter. Pandoc. So this is going to be mostly the same. The input option, it looks like we don't need any input options from their documentation. Documentation. Right, converting file. We need -o as an output option and -s. So input options, we can just return nothing, and then output options, that's fine. The output options though, they're going to be -s, -o. You can do MLAI2, just look at your LinkedIn, couple certificates, so curious. I did those certificates a while ago. That was kind of before the whole LLM world appeared and dominated things. So we were kind of just looking at doing like basic predictions off of time series. And so ran through and taught myself like the basics of that sort of thing. At this point, it's horrifically out of date. Like, so I like the powers of AI and what they allow us to do faster and better. However, I've never been.
I'm not sure I understand.
I've never quite been one to like jump into the gold rush, so to speak, and like try and build something with like crazy new technology and just get there first and rush through it. So I appreciate it. I don't know exactly what I'm doing with the power yet, but I like reading about it and understanding it, kind of playing around with it when I can. I downloaded and used Llama 2 the other day, and kind of played around with like the censored version versus the uncensored version to understand like, you know, how people are putting training wheels on this stuff and guardrails and what these things are capable of without the guardrails. I was going to make a video about it, but I could not get the streaming to work, so it would have been a boring video. All right. Here we're writing it into the directory again. We write everything in with the extensions, so it should all be good. And then we execute. Now, of course, here we're not executing ffmpeg, we're executing pandoc. So we have the input options, whatever the inputs are, the output options, whatever the outputs are in the current directory. And so I don't think I need this logging anymore. I think I fixed that bug. And lastly, this is a pandoc converter. So for each of the nodes, we can convert to each one. This is one of those things that, again, I'm going to need a better way of doing. I don't want to have to define every connection, but I think what it's going to be is like, there's going to be a set of nodes that can go anything to anything for like documents, right? So if you had like 10 nodes, it would be like, oh, well, a universal document converter, right? If you had 10 nodes, like Markdown, text, text style, Word document, RTF, Libra, HTML, EPUB, ROF, you know, DocBook, right? You're like, okay, cool. Like any of those things can go to anything else. But then we need to have a couple things that are like, okay, but you can only go to PDF. So PDF won't be added to like that total mesh graph. Instead, it's going to be something that's only exportable by pandoc. And so we'll probably have like another node here that's like, okay, for things that can only be exported, you know, for these nodes, whatever those nodes are, we'll define them, you know, boom, 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 boom. So in our nodes directory here, we'll probably have like a couple of nodes that we define, right? We'll have like, we have all the nodes. Sure, it's just all the nodes. But then the subset of nodes are like input output nodes, and output nodes, right? And if we do it that way, we can probably handle it here nicely. That seems like a good way of doing it. Okay, we got our converter. Let's add it here, right? Document nodes. And this is doc nodes. So we'll just append it as well. Again, this will be nicer when we can make sections for it. Okay, let's restart this. Okay, we need to add it to our graph. This is another thing that we're manually doing that we probably don't want to. So here we have nodes as, right, this is the doc nodes. So as document nodes. And so for each of the nodes, my hands are on the wrong keys. Perfect. And then the converters. Right, this is converters docs. So now this is a document converter. We add it here as well. So now if we just restart this, we should have all of the stuff wired up. So we have, in addition to the audio types, right, we now have text plain, application RTF, and this lovely beast of a thing, which is Word. So let's see how this explodes when we try to use it. Does anyone have a Word document lying around? Aaron, hey, have a good streaming. Thank you. So far, so good. We're getting close to like this actually being convert anything to anything. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. So let's see. Do I even have a Word document that I can like use? We have text documents, right? Let's go ahead and start with text. So let's do what? CD downloads, make dir text test, CD text test, vim test. This is a test. It's also markdown. I hope you like it. Please tell me when we are done. Hello. Right, so very basic, just text document. But that was one of the things that we did implement. So if we go to Chrome, we can now select a document. We're not in audio anymore. We're gonna do text. We're gonna upload this bad boy, right? Text. Now we can convert to, again, it says everything, right? But converting text to JPEG is A, not something we can do yet, and B, something that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But the idea is to, right? If you convert text to JPEG, there's two ways I can see that happening. One way is literally the text itself is like an image. So if you had text that said hello world, it would be an image that said hello world. And if you had, or you treat it as a prompt to something like DALL-E or Midjourney or whatever the diffusion one is, right? You treat it as like an image prompt and then you create an image from it. So there are multiple ways we can approach this. But we're going to do RTF to start. And we're going to convert it. And we did a full refresh for some reason. So everything was deleted. So we're going to try that again. Thanks, next.js. Convert. Okay, it happened twice in a row. That means something is broken. Let's go figure it out. Fast refresh had to perform a full reload when app button changed. Okay, well, it looks like it's converting actually, right? So if we go into our local directory, we should be able to just see what this did, even though it failed to do it on the UI. Stable diffusion, thank you. Yes, that one. Okay, so here is our input, and here is the output. Not bad, right? Hamza, Ethan, do you stream every day? I currently do not stream every day. I do freelance work and I pretend to record YouTube videos, although I've been not great at doing that, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But mostly just do freelance work on those days. Stable Diffusion, yes. Not sure it's open source, but I can design and code a landing page for you if you'd like. Keeping landing page well designed, always a good place to start, like +1 step forwards. Aaron, thank you very, very much for the offer. So the code is not currently open source, but you can go to recast file to play around with what we have right now. And so this is, I mean, zoom out for the production version. This is stuff that ChatGPT just like quickly wrote because I was like, I need something. So that is the thing to change and make better, certainly. So I never expect free work from anybody, so I wouldn't worry about it. But what I imagine here is taking this and making it, you know, more breathable, add some icons, clean it up, get some nice sections, that sort of thing. We're not quite to the point where we're like really pushing users here, mainly because we want the file conversion part to work pretty well first, but we're getting close, and that's currently where we are. The rest of it's like, we don't need much elsewhere. We just want this thing to be really good. Can you show the package JSON file? Yes, we can. So let me tell you, this is a bit of a mess, but most of it is good. So we're using S3, right, to store files. We're using MDX for our blog, and so a bunch of this is just markdown MDX stuff. I played around with using next.UI in parts of this, but I don't think I'm going to keep it. We use Pixie, the JavaScript framework that writes to Canvas, for the blur effect here, where these blobs move around and kind of generatively move. Prisma, obviously, we're using some Radix stuff because we're using Shad UI. So Radix is behind the scenes. Tailwind typography for the blog. Archiver to make our zip things. We're using Axios, which I'd love to not use, but we're using it because we need the progress for a file upload, and that was the easiest way to get there. Shad UI stuff, Shad UI stuff. This is for analytics. Feed is for our RSS feed. Framer motion for beautiful, beautiful graphics. This is an image magic thing that I was testing and don't think I need. Meme types we're going to get rid of because it's bad. OpenAI for GPT because we're using that for some of our generation stuff, which I talked about in one of the videos a couple sessions ago. Pixie.js, like I said, for the canvas work. React Aria for some more UI stuff. React Drop Zone, which handles the drag and drop on the home page. Boop, boop. So that's React Drop Zone. Simplex noise for the generation of the moving of the blobs on the homepage, and then some Tailwind stuff and Zod for validation. So of these, some of them are just like cute, don't really impact the core product, and some of them are things I need to get rid of. But that's, you can take a screenshot. It's a little bit of a mess, in my opinion. I need to kind of run through and clean it up. But it's been more important to move forwards than to try and make the code perfect right now. Mainly the biggest thing that's bothering me in terms of like, oh my God, this is horrendous, is the fact that I have like 3 different UI libraries colliding with each other. We're using some Radix stuff. We're using some Shad UI stuff, which uses Radix. We're using React Aria because I think my button is better. And we also have next UI in there because I thought it was going to be easy, but then they didn't have all the components we needed. So I had to use something else anyways. So there you go. That's how you get to be a mess of code. Okay, let's go ahead and quit our dev server and see if that fixes this. And honestly, maybe these are interfering with each other in subtle ways, but Full refresh. Here we go. Probably should update next.js and see if that fixes it. Okay, so let's try this whole thing again. Let's try a docx this time. Okay, click download. Download.x. Open with pages. Oh my God. God, this is so cool. I don't know, friends. I think this is just so cool, right? We wrote a text file, we put it through our service, we got a Word document that I opened in Pages. Like, it's awesome. It's just so cool. So, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. We need some emojis for like whenever things go right. Because it doesn't always happen, right? It's like this download button, this needs to like be changed to something different. Anyways, there's like UI things here and there, kind of all broken across. But so this means Pandoc's working, so our text documents are working. So then the big thing is gonna be kind of understanding how Pandoc handles probably like PDFs and then getting out of PDF, right? Yeah, right. I'm not quite big enough in my little bubble. PDFs continue to be a giant pain in the butt, right? So we can go to PDF here, but we can't get out of PDF land. So if I go to Pandoc and we decide -s is what we want. So like we can read in test, we can do -s, -o, and let's do test.pdf, right? So PDF latex is not found. Please select a different PDF engine or install PDF latex. So we need a PDF engine, and there's a bunch of them here. So I'm not sure which one of these is like totally the best. So this is something we'll have to just experiment with and play with. I have installed PDF latex before, and it is like, it's like 10 gigabytes. It's huge. It is absolutely disturbing how much it installs on the computer. So that's not ideal. Right, like what is PDF context? Is this like creating a context? Like, is this PDF Pandoc? By default, we'll use latex. Requires a latex engine to install. Alternatively, you can do a whole bunch of other stuff. Or it can use like HTML as an intermediate format. Or you can do, I see, okay, -t HTML. So we can do that, right? Which basically is going to render this as like it's going to first render it to HTML and then do PDF. This document format requires a non-empty title element. Oh, and we still need WK HTML to PDF. So it still failed. PDF latex is the best. ChatGPT says PDF. Okay, does ChatGPT also say how big PDF latex is? It's huge. I mean, to be fair, I shouldn't be installing it locally, right? We should be doing all this within Docker anyways. When using latex, see, here's what we immediately get into. Let's make this bigger so everyone in chat can understand what I'm talking about. The following packages need to be available when using latex. So like you basically install the entire internet in order to be able to do this. Yeah, not ideal. So I mean that's okay. Let's consider though. Let's consider how do we have a little bit of time here. How do we so okay, getting into a PDF is not hard. It just involves installing a bunch of stuff. We can do that. How do we get out of a PDF, right? PDFs have like two types. One PDF type is basically a fancy way of looking at text. The other PDF type is like an image, right? Where if you have an image of text, then you can't select it. It's like a really bad PDF. So when we do PDF to anything else like text, we're gonna have to consider that, right? So like here in we have a test PDF, right? This is our W4 again, right? Here's our W4, right? This PDF is a normal PDF. When you think we will see this application on the first page when we write PDF to docx? Well, architect, that's what the SEO part is all supposed to be about. So it's about getting like the blog running that has a bunch of good articles that people link to, that we have articles exactly how to do that, and we raise our domain authority, right? The other thing we're gonna do at one point is we're gonna build sub pages that will be like convert, what would we say? PDF to, right, docx. And so like that'll be the URL itself, and that hopefully will also help SEO. And so it'll be a page that is specific for converting PDF to docx, and then like you could click a button to convert other things. But that way we have like as much SEO going on as possible. So how long? Give it a couple weeks. What we want to think about now, right? So this PDF, like I was saying, right? This PDF is like a normal PDF where you can like select the text, but you can also do things like here's Pixelmator, right? And you can create, let's just create a new document. You can create a new document and you can just add in text, right? You can say PDF. It's like, okay, this is PDF, right? And then you can give it, I don't know, give it a gradient background. Woo! And now you can export this. You can export it as PDF. But if you take this text and you convert it into pixels, now it looks like it's text, but it's actually just a picture, right? And so when you export it as a PDF, call it just test.pdf. I guess we already have a test.pdf. Export it again, right? You can delete this, don't need this. Now if you go ahead and open, let's open it the faster way. If we open up right, you can't easily select this. Like this is preview doing OCR, which is what's happening behind the scenes, right? But it's not like this sort of text. So this is now just like a fancy picture as a PDF. So there's two types of like text you get in PDF. So we're just gonna focus on this stuff first and see how far that gets us. So the question is, do we focus on it plain text first or not? Let's do PDF to Word document command line. So let's start checking this out. So what do you do? What is this? Who are you? What is this tool? Processing technology for developers. I don't think I love you. PDF to Word. You know what we should go? We should go to GitHub. PDF to Word. What do we got? Python fan PDF to Word. Best PDF converter. Convert PDF to any format, like Excel document. Okay, these don't have a lot of stars. I don't have a lot of hope here. 5 years ago, 2 years ago. Looks like they have a link to another one. Okay, this is April 5th. Open source Python library for converting PDF to doc. Okay. Generate the docx with Python docx. Do you think in the future you'll work on a finance SaaS or money web app project? I actually have had that thought. So one of the things I've enjoyed playing with has been like personal finance and understanding kind of like at a family level where your money's going. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that focus on individual financial performance, which of course is important, know where your money's going. But once you have a family, so I have a wife and a little baby and a dog, if she counts. Once you have a family, right, your financial situation, A, gets more complicated. There's more of you. B, you have more money going in and out. And C, I think transparency is important within a family unit. That's just my take. So like knowing where the money's going, knowing how investments are doing, knowing where your retirement is, right? If there's transparency there, there's no surprises, and surprises can be bad. Like one of the biggest thing couples fight about is money. Money and kids, top 2 reasons couples fight. So my take on a sort of financial SaaS would be the typical like sign up, hook up your bank accounts, hook up your retirement accounts. It would be, a way it would pull in that information, and then it would focus on like presenting it in a way for like understanding your family's financial health. So that would probably be my angle. I also think there's something you could do with like receipt information, right? You go to a store, you buy stuff, you get a receipt. Always sign a prenup. That is certainly a way to handle some of those problems. I think it just matters like what your situation is and what you want to do. But I would never say prenups are bad, right? It's just a tool in the arsenal you can use. Okay, so do you think there's a need for other languages when there's TypeScript for web dev? I mean, what? Like, what else is there? I would never use JavaScript over TypeScript. You could use like Dart, right? That's like Google's little thing. But I think TypeScript just won. I think the fact that it's a superset of JavaScript is good. I think Microsoft's done a good job of stewarding it. And I think the tooling for it is fantastic. And that's my dog. And yeah, I think you should just use TypeScript. So here's the limitation of PDF to docx, right? It has to be text-based. This is what we were talking about before. It can't just be a picture. Only supports right to left to right. And it can't 100% convert the PDF layout all the time. But that looks pretty good, huh? I think we should try this. I think this is worth a try, although I don't know if I want to set this tool up right now. Oh my god. Pip install PDF to... How bad is this going to be to use? Okay, and then quick start, convert a PDF, right? Oh, was there a command line? I need a command line. Command line. Perfect. Okay, let's just run the installation and see how badly this explodes. I'm pretty sure I have pip. So let's give it a shot, right? Okay, so let's just get out of this test directory. Let's try this. So we're gonna have to clearly install this on our Docker image and everything for production. I forgot I had a drink. Chat. I'm so much happier now. All right, This is gonna be so cool. If this works, we're not gonna quite get to where I think we want to. Maybe we can, right? Maybe we can. No, I think we have a bunch of broken code. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. Okay, so hang on. This is so cool. This is so cool. Okay, we got that command line interface. We got this, so that we can do convert test doc. Okay. CD. So we have a test PDF, right? So open test PDF. Sam Alpert, don't call me chat. But you are chat. You are all chat. And assuming you're Sam Alpert, how you doing? Hi. Here's our test PDF, right? And so we want to run PDF convert and test and test. So it's test all the way down. Convert test.pdf to, let's do result w4.docx. Weird, YouTube recommendation sending me here. YouTube recommendation engine has done some interesting things. I don't know if Dadbod's in the chat, but turns out after we were talking a little bit over chat, Dadbod lived in the area locally. And I was like, okay, YouTube definitely knows way too much to be able to recommend this sort of connection. And I'm assuming Google also just was like, hey, you two, there's probably some chemistry there. How you doing? Let's see if we can open this now. Right? Result W4. Musta. So here are my downloads. Here's the result W4. So let's see what this looks like. This is our W4. Okay, this Word document may look different. Okay. Look at this. Look at this Word document we created. This is also opening in Pages, right? So it might look even different / better in Microsoft Word. But this is pretty sweet. I'm at work, working, browsing, working until this distracted me. Yeah, I bet this would distract you. You're like, wait a second. Ethan is live? What the heck? Okay, this is awesome. This is awesome. So we're going to totally use this. So what we can do here is... Okay, this is where copying and pasting all this stuff actually gets annoying because 90% of this is the same. So clearly doing this is a bad idea. Don't do this at home, kids. But we're here for fun and chaos, and I will clean up the code off stream, which is what everyone here wants, right? So this is PDF to docx converter, right? And the idea here is that extends converter, and the output can be this, and the output options here don't need to be any of this. So we can actually just go back to the default options we had before. And we're going to call convert, and the actual conversion happens executing, right? So this is now, right, this command. And we'll just put the convert here, I think. Because we just have to run the convert command. We don't want to run anything else. Catch up elsewhere. Peace. Good luck with whatever hell this is. Hey, have a great day. And yes, we will catch up. This is going to be chaos, but also fun. We're almost there. So this converter that we've created, this PDF to docx converter, is a special converter, right? That's not going to go everything to everything. We only want it to be PDF to doc. And so in terms of our graph that we're creating, we basically just want to do, right, converters push new And then we need the nodes. Nodes 1 and 2. Is that because it knows? No, it needs to be nodes. Oh, we have nodes in multiple places, don't we? Yep. This is where the fun ends. So here we have, in our image nodes, we also have application PDF, right? So now we have it like in 2 places, which feels like a big no-no. So we're also gonna have to clean this up because it shouldn't impact the graph because the graph uses a key value store, but it's definitely gonna impact this and it's gonna be weird. So we're gonna convert, so this is PDF, right? So 0, 1, 2, we're gonna convert node 2 to node 3. Right? So now we just have like this very specialized converter that we've done, which converts node 2 to node 3. Why is this good? Because we export them and then we can use that in our graph. So if we go back to here, right, now we have application PDF somewhere in here. JPEG, Photoshop, WebP. We need a visualization of this. This is getting ridiculous. Application PDF. So this one should now also be able to go to a Word document. And that should just work. Do you think it's best to start a project or start up with a partner compared to doing it alone? Colo, that is a time eternal question, my friend. It depends, which of course is the answer to everything. But I can qualify that, I think, pretty well. If you are doing a project to learn something, do it yourself. Do it yourself. Learn what you need to learn, build what you want to build, have a good time doing it. That way it doesn't matter how quickly or how slowly it takes. The goal is to learn. So the phrase, right, is if you want to go fast, go by yourself. And if you want to go far, go with a team. So if you're learning something, if you're trying something new, if you're experimenting, like all those things are great to do by yourself. If you think you have an idea, or you do have an idea, or you have a project that you believe can be turned into a successful business, then having a partner will help a lot. Starting a business is hard, takes a ton of energy, takes a ton of time. It's a giant roller coaster, and it helps a lot to have somebody who's in it with you. Now, who you pick is the life or death of your company or your project or whatever it is, right? If you pick someone who you work really well with and has a lot of energy and you can like bounce ideas off each other and build and code and ship, and you know, one of you does some of it, or right, like if you can get that sort of partnership going, then basically you're unstoppable. But if you have problems with your partner, if there's friction, if like things aren't working out, then it's also the death of a project. So that's, if I was starting a company today, I would almost always want to have a co-founder. But that co-founder would have to be like someone I knew very well and also like super in it. If I'm just building stuff and kind of experimenting, I think it's fun to do it by yourself. Okay. Is this going to work? So we have our, this is the, no, it's not the test PDF. Select a file to convert. So we have a test PDF here. And now we convert it to a docx here. And this should use our docx converter. I don't think it worked, chat. What do we got? Oh, it tried to use pandoc. Error converting pandoc, unknown format, PDF. Can convert to, okay. So what happened? So we built our graph, we pushed all the converters, and then we pushed this one, but pandoc took precedence. So we want to say if from dot, again, this is not good, application PDF, continue. So skip PDFs. Is that the best way to do it? No, because now we have magic strings in our code. But if we go back here and we set you to be processing and we delete you and we try again, now it's converting PDF to docx with the conversion input and output that we're expecting. Now you can see it's taking a while, right? So what's going to happen is this command, we await it, right? So we await what's happening, which means eventually we're going to be running so many conversions, it's going to back up like in production, right? Not locally. It'll back up in production, which is going to be an amazing problem to have. Someone's going to contact me and be like, hey, like my conversion's taking a long time. And I'll be like, oh my God, we actually reached the limit of what we can do. And then we spin up additional converters. So don't fix problems until they're problems. Because you could make the most robust, scalable system to convert files. And if nobody ever converts a file on it, then that was just a bunch of time wasted. Download. I love it when I win. All right, well, that preview was awful, but again, we have successfully converted a PDF to a Word document. So I'm sorry, that was so cool. I just need to take another second here. We just converted a PDF to a Word document. Okay, so now we're going to get to something that breaks. So let's go ahead and just break it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do a hard refresh. How do you run Python packages in next.js? Yeah. The dopamine is too much. So test PDF, right? This is what we want. What's going to break here is we're going to convert it to a text document. Now there is no conversion from PDF to text, but we have PDF to Word and Word to text. So we are going to, for the first time, have a multi-staged conversion. And this is going to completely break and it's not going to work at all. And we're going to click the button anyways and it's going to blow up. So there you have it. Wait, what just happened? Hang on, it looked up the conversion PDF to text plain, which means it found a path, which means it's converting it to a Word document, which means we ran that conversion and then we're converting it to text plain and now we're uploading it. Oh, we've got an error converting. This is pandoc, executing pandoc docx to output. Error converting command failed pandoc could not unpack a docx container, did not find end of central directory signature. Okay, that actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. Honestly, I didn't think we would get that far at all. So if you look in here, we have the docx file that was actually converted. Oh, it doesn't in two different directories. That's okay. Let's look this error up real quick and then I'll get back to you, chat. Because that was actually much, much better than I thought. We shouldn't have zipped it though. We didn't zip it. This isn't what we want. Looks like this is like a common thing with zips, but we're not really zipping anything. So our PDF converter is not actually doing it totally correct, right? That's what we got here. This is breaking slightly. Couldn't unpack to not find, but I don't know if anyone's gonna have this sort of bug. Of course not. Yeah, dopamine rush. Okay, we were much closer than we thought. Architect, how do you run Python packages in next.js? So the trick here is we're not actually having the languages talk to each other. What we did is we installed on the command line using pip, we installed PDF to docx, right? So this is now like a command line tool. And yes, it uses Python. You have to have Python installed on the system and all that stuff. But you can just invoke it by calling PDF to doc, right? So you can just call this command and have it execute. And so once you have something on your system that is callable by the code, then we're running the exec command. And this is Node.js basically running something on your terminal. So if you're on Windows, like in PowerShell. So it's basically running this command for us on our behalf. And we're saying, this is the input and this is the output. And then what we're doing is we're gonna just check what the output is and read that file back into memory. So we're basically working around all of these limitations by just working with the underlying file system directly in Node, which gives us a lot of power, but also a lot of ways to break things like this. So this should have worked now that okay, it shouldn't have worked, but it should have worked, but not the way I thought it was gonna work. So what I thought was gonna happen was our data model in Prisma basically defines a conversion. So that's like the top level, you want to convert X to Y. And then we have stages for each hop. So in this case, it would have been PDF to doc to text. So that's 3 stages. But I don't actually create 3 stages, right? I don't save this in the database. So I thought it was going to explode. But my converter actually worked around that by simply saying, let me just go look up the path anyways to see how I can do that conversion. And so it looked it up and then it just started converting it. And then we got the error, which is couldn't unpack the docx container, did not find end of central directory signature. So basically our PDF to doc didn't quite do what we wanted in that, like, looks like the Word document's like not perfect. So here's pandoc. Couldn't parse the docx file. So I'm wondering if like what's broken. What is broken? Couldn't parse. But then they open it in Word and save it and it works, right? Like we could maybe use Word's command line to fix this. Interesting. Well, this doesn't exactly tell me what I need to know. Couldn't unpack. This is a very weird error. Obviously, I'm not a pandoc sort of guru. I'm just using their tool, but it looks like yeah. It's not, I don't know if it's technically Pandoc's fault even, right? Because like this tool is the thing that generates the Word document. Now, granted, it's not so corrupted that we can't even open it because we opened it fine in Pages. So like it mostly works, but it's clearly not totally correct. So this feels like one of those things that I don't even know if there's options we can pass through to try and make it a little better, right? Convert one page and plot layout, GUI, table. Okay, that doesn't really help anything, does it? Convert H. So what do we have here? We can specify the file. 2 a.m. at work. Oh my God. Raj, good night, man. Sleep well. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. We're gonna figure this out at one point. Password. Start. First page to process. Makes sense. End. Pages. We don't need that. Additional flags are note. That's all we got. Okay, well. Rip. We tried. So we're close to making this work, but not totally there. That's okay. We will play around with this a little bit. We might find a different utility to do this, but I think we have shown a pretty good understanding of like how we can chain these things together and do this sort of conversion. We just need it to not be, broken. So now that it kind of works, let's go ahead and just push all this stuff. Let's go ahead and I don't have Python installed in this Docker image. Oh God. All right. Well, you know what? Sometimes things are just going to be a little broken for a little bit. Feature document conversion. Okay. So this may or may not explode, and what we can do is once it's deployed, we will redeploy our Docker container on prod. So we just need to wait for the build, and then we can SSH into the converter and go opt converter. And when that's good, we can run the deploy script to redeploy, and we should be good to go. So where does that leave us? Refresh. That leaves us with a conversion service that can convert a lot of things to a lot of things, but not everything. We need to do video at one point, but that shouldn't be hard. We need to clean up now our user interface a little bit, right? Because we can't convert everything to everything yet. So if you upload a WAV file, we want this to show what we can convert to. Same sort of thing for like audio to JPEG, right? Like video to GIF is kind of straightforward, if ridiculous. You could basically just copy over a video and we could make a GIF of it. But how do you turn audio into a single picture? What is that representation? Audio to text? You could listen to the audio and turn it into text, and then the text could be turned either into a picture, like a prompt, or it could just be turned into a giant picture of text. Is that good? It's not bad. So things like that, but we're getting close. We just basically need to figure out a couple of these small bugs, put it into place, and then clean up the homepage. And I think we'll be ready to just do a bunch of conversions. Convert our heart away, get people to come, and then so the what we talked about before, and what we're going to do a little bit, see if my build is done yet, not yet, is we will build out specific landing pages for each of the converters. And so we will pre-select, like, okay, if we'll have convert, let's say it's convert anything to JPEG, right? Or convert high efficiency image format to JPEG. And so then it can just be like a no-click sort of interaction where you just like go to downloads and just like, boop, drag and drop the file in. And because we already know what the target is, we don't need to ask them. And so we'll just automatically upload, automatically do the conversion, and automatically download. And that way, you know, we can just start having those pages up and you can share them with friends and be like, cool, you know, here's how you go. So that's another good way to improve our SEO. Can you make text from audio and image from text using Midjourney? Yeah. Like, the only tricky thing about that, architect, is that audio has to have text, right? So if you upload something that's like white noise, or, you know, something that doesn't have any text in it, then you're gonna have a bad time. Why is this good? I think I'm done coding once we're done this. Okay, so we finished the deploy. So now we can just run deploy.sh, right? And so now this is going to pull. This is on prod. It's a DigitalOcean box. This is going to pull the latest Docker image and restart the container with all the environment variables and stuff all set up. So you can just kind of like see this chug along. But this is how I currently do my deploys for the background process. Why is this useful? Let's see. Yeah, this is probably a good stopping point, considering we didn't quite get that last thing working, but we were so close. And I just need to read a bunch of like weird esoteric things about how to do conversions to figure out what exactly is wrong or ways to fix it, right? So let's see here. Camera, filter, circle. Why is some of this stuff useful? I think some of this stuff is going to be very cool for a very small subset of people. But like what you just said, right? Text from audio and image from text using Midjourney. So imagine we're close to this, right? Basically, you can do an audio recording on your phone to be like, let me just think of fun prompts I want from Midjourney, right? So you just like pull out your phone, you do an audio recording, and you're just like, you know, beautiful picture of mountains in the sky. You know, Zelda running through the woods. And you just kind of like spit these things out. And then you can just go to the website, drag and drop your audio onto it. And we can take the audio, automatically run the OCR, and then like split your paragraphs. So like any time you had like a break in between your thought, or just one per audio recording, whatever, we can like break that up into different prompts and then run all those prompts through Dolly or Stable Diffusion, something, right? And then come back with a bunch of images and then optionally like put them all together into a PDF. So you can kind of see how you can like build these little flows to be like, okay, I want it to be super easy for me, and then I need this thing to just like do stuff with my data. And I think that'll be something that we'll be able to find it, you know, a useful place in the world for that sort of stuff. Like, you know, people have a whole bunch of problems with PDFs. So like you can do like merging PDFs, right? Like Pandoc can do that sort of stuff. ImageMagick can do that sort of stuff. We can have meme generators right? You could upload 3 pictures and we can put them together into one. And it's like, that's not hard. Like I can open Pixelmator or Photoshop. You can like add the 3 images. You can like put them together. You can like crop it out and then you can like post it, right? But what I just said is going to take me, let's be generous, 2 minutes to do. And I can do it on a website in like 12 seconds. And so if you have to do it just a couple times ever, you're like, oh my God, like this website just makes it so much easier, right? So we will be able to use our platform we're building here to then build very specific fun functions that are easily consumable and shareable. So you could see there's a, I don't know, like text to video, right? Where you could like write in the text and we could like, turn it into a little video, stuff like that. I don't know what's going to be most useful, but once we have all these tools in place to do the conversions, we can kind of play with them behind the scenes to see what makes sense. And then of course it's a next.js website, so it's very easy to, just kind of throw up a landing page and be like, hey, we built this, come play with it for 10 seconds and see what people think. Salmon.web. I guess maybe it's Salman. Should one focus on skills or content creation? I think it depends where you are in your life cycle of like a developer or business, right? So I have been a professional software engineer for over 10 years now. I feel like there's not a lot that can stand in my way. I have a very good understanding of the whole stack. I could go deeper on some technologies, but I like building web apps. I like that entire area. I like doing stuff full stack. I like tackling problems. And so I push my skills forwards whenever I need to. Like I just taught myself Terraform the other day because I was terraforming an AWS infrastructure. So whenever those opportunities come up, I love learning. I love doing it, but I'm not like sitting down on the grindstone being like, I need to teach myself TypeScript. I need to know TypeScript perfectly. I need to be able to like go crazy, crazy, crazy deep. It's like, no, I know a lot of TypeScript and I pretty confident I can tackle anything reasonable in TypeScript. And so now I find myself for my business and for like building an audience, I find myself doing a lot of content creation, which just comes down to helping other people, right? Build videos on how to do stuff, show people new things, talk about pros and cons of whatever it is. And that's content that I'm very happy to make because if it helps somebody, then there you go. Like that person's a little better off. And so I think it depends where you are in your life cycle of, either personal growth of becoming a better engineer or a business or, whatever that might be. Have you used Next.UI before? Yeah, we're actually using it in this project. Like I said, I don't have it up anymore. But like I said, in our package, we're using Next.UI for some button stuff and for the links. So I've played around with Next.UI 2, right? That came out recently, and there are components, and they have like new components that just came out. So new components in 2.1. This is going to be in my newsletter. #subscribe. Which they're nice. They're built on React Aria, which I'm a big fan of. I not totally sold on it. The thing that killed me was I needed a combo box. Like I needed some sort of combo box, and they didn't have it. So here they kind of do now in terms of like chip select, kind of like they don't have the autocomplete necessarily, right? List box. So I was like, okay, I give up right now. But yes, we are using them. I don't know if I'm going to keep using them, but I like what they're doing. I think they're doing some cool stuff. And so, I would say definitely play around with it. My favorite thing to do when learning a new like UI kit is start a project with it and see like how far you can take it, see what limitations you run into. that sort of thing, right? Just like push it to its limit, build something with it, and then you'll have a pretty good feel for it. And if you like it, use it. Like, you don't need to be religious about these things. Just if you like it, use it. If you don't like it, don't use it. Yeah, I like how they're using Tailwind now too. What are your thoughts on creating component library for personal use, maybe commercial use? I think I've tried it like 5 times. I like that. That's essentially what like Shad UI is, right? Shad CN UI, which I think it comes down a lot to A, it's going to take longer than you think, and B, do you feel like you really want your own personal spin on something that badly? And if the answer is yes, then you should do it. And if the answer is no, then I would pick one of the popular ones and be like, it's good enough. So like me, I like to spend a lot of time making the UX just perfect. And so often that involves building custom components, right? Like, you got to go one level deeper to build the right interaction for your users. And that's important to me. It's important to get it done. So I will spend that time doing it. So whatever UI library I use, I need to be able to drop down another level and build something more custom. So with like Shad CN UI, you could drop down to Radix, right? And use Tailwind. For using Tailwind, that's just like a utility library. You can do anything. For React Aria components, you can use that. You can use the hooks if you need to. For Next UI now, they rewrote it in version 2, so you can drop down and use React Aria to build something more custom, right? But if you're using something like Material UI, MUI, whatever they call it these days, like, I think they might actually do have a low-level library now, but whatever. You know, some of these UI libraries, like, there's no way to go a level lower. So if you like run into a situation where you're like, okay, I need like a custom popover autocomplete magic box, and I need it to like do these things, and I need to like change all these attributes, and it needs to be like this custom input, and there's no low-level building block to use, then you just have to like, okay, I just need to go find my own. I need to like build it totally custom, right? And then you have to pull in additional libraries that you might not want to use just to like make this thing proper. So I think it's always good to be able to like drop down a level lower. And if you're building your own library, then you can always do that, right? So you get total flexibility, all the power you want in the world, but it's going to take a lot of time. Like, you have to build all the form elements, then you have to build like a whole bunch of popover management and your dialogue management and then menus. And it just ends up taking a lot more time than probably you think initially. You are building an OAuth platform. That sounds intense. I wish you luck. Feel free to send me a link, and I will be happy to like take a look and poke around. I love seeing what you all are working on. So you can like send me an email. My email is in a whole bunch of places. You can send me a tweet. I know somebody sent me a project and I still need to look at it. I just had a busy weekend, but I promise I will get to them. I don't get that bombarded. So I'm happy to look at like what people are doing, building, if you have questions about stuff, all that sort of thing. I think it's great. All right, friends. 3:34 here on the East Coast. I'm going to call it a day. We got pretty far. I'm going to push a couple things forwards and see if I can fix that bug with the conversion process and maybe tweak the UI a little bit. And on Thursday, I need to also end a little early because I need to go pick up my sister from the airport. So we will be streaming noon on Thursday is the plan. And we're going to, assuming the conversion stuff's all in a pretty good place, we're going to most likely build out a couple landing pages for certain things. Maybe look at transformers, which will change everything and blow your mind. And otherwise, honestly, we're getting pretty close to it being pretty good, and we might split off into a couple other tangential things and then come back to it. So we're nowhere near done, but it's going to come down a bit to marketing and time and letting it grow. Oh, build a public dashboard so people can see how many conversions we do. There we go. So with that, I'm going to call it a day. It's a resume builder app. That's awesome. I think I've seen a couple of those. I think there's fun integration points there with AI, right? To like pull in someone being able to like give advice on how to structure your resume or the right things to say. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. On acquire.com, there were several like write a cover letter for me services. So I think there's definitely opportunity for people to need help here. I know my friend, when he was looking for a job, did like a resume evaluation service or something. I think it costs like $300 for the year. I might be wrong about that, but it would basically like analyze the resume for whatever job posting you're looking for and offer tweaks to be like, here's how you should change your resume for the best chance that someone's going to look at it. And we can like review the resume automatically to like, make sure it's not going to be caught by automated AI systems and like get you to stand out. So anything that gets people a job, right, is valuable. So I think that's awesome. Good luck. Feel free to send it my way, when you're at a point where you want some feedback. And I will chat with you all on Thursday. With that, have a great rest of your day. See ya.